injury lawyers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hannegriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hannegriff.
Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to Hangin with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. If you're with us on 1130 The Tiger up in Shreveport, welcome in. You're watching us on CST or on our YouTube channel, 104.5 ESPN. We appreciate you being with us today. Feels like a very important day where college football is concerned. Meetings are taking place right now with Big Ten officials and also with Pac-12 officials, and those will continue throughout the midday portion. When they finish, we'll give you what we get. But we have gone on such a roller coaster from the literally the announcement of the SEC schedule on Friday to the MAC canceling on Saturday to the stories that broke on Sunday and then into Monday about the Big Ten, the Pac-12 canceling, the immense pushback that they got yesterday. And Jacob, when we look back on this, when we close the book on the 2020 season one day, I think we'll look back at August 10th as being the day that the people that had mostly stayed silent and did what they were supposed to do came up and says, wait a minute, before you cancel everything, hang on a second. Let me tell you my side of the story. And it started with Trevor Lawrence. It continued with Jim Harbaugh, and the momentum built throughout the rest of the day, whether it was Nick Saban or Coach
Scott Frost.
Ryan Day, Scott Frost. I was saving him for last.
Giant,
James Franklin. Scott Frost was huge yesterday for Nebraska, basically going, and he had the support of the governor of Nebraska, which I don't think was a small thing, and basically said, Nebraska wants to play football. And we'd love to play in the Big Ten, but the Big Ten doesn't want to play football. We will pack up our act and we'll go on down the road and we're going to play somebody.
That's Handy. That's a place that has sold out 300 plus straight games, and they've been bad for 20 years. I mean, they have not been the Nebraska that we all remember with the mid-drift jerseys in the 90s and the 80s, right? That's a program though that it means something to the state of Nebraska. It's everything, really. Like LSU means a ton to Louisiana. There's no question about that. It means a ton to Baton Rouge. But within the state of Nebraska, I mean, that's it. That is it. That is like the say-all, be-all for that state. And so I'm not surprised that the governor came out and was backing Scott Frost.
We learned about a term that I'm certain I'm going to mispronounce called myocarditis.
Glad you tried, and not I.
We're going to have Dr. Stephen Etheridge on a little bit later on in this hour to explain what that is. But what did you tell me yesterday? I said, what? We've gotten this question so many times. What the hell happened between Friday and Monday? Well, this affliction, this heart issue that you could possibly contact through COVID, or that COVID could exacerbate, became a big source of contention in the at least the idea that they could shut down. And we're learning more about it. It is not a new condition, but it is a condition that they are not certain about its direct contact to COVID. It is fairly rare that we know so far. That's short term. Long term, who knows?
Well, the headline on ESPN, it literally says a rare heart condition that could be linked with the coronavirus. And so, that's how they begin it. And it's inflammation of a heart muscle. And it's been found in at least 5 Big Ten Conference athletes. And so I can't wait to ask Dr. Etheridge, what the major concern is with that, how rare it truly is. Because rare can mean a lot of different things, right? When you're talking about rare and could, I mean, those are pretty vague. And so I want to ask Dr. Etheridge exactly, how rare this truly would be for athletes.
I'm not going to get into the medical part. I'll let Dr. Etheridge do that. But I can draw a very easy line from this affliction to the canceling of football season in the Big Ten. And it's a liability issue. It's very simple. If they find out that a player that had tested for COVID also has this, and that player has a heart attack and dies, then that's the ball game. That happened on a president's watch, a commissioner's watch, that said, yes, you can go out and play. Even though we don't know about the ramifications of this long term, we sent you out to play, and you went out and played, and you died. That's what that's what triggered the entire, we're going to cancel our seasons because we don't know about this.
And I want to ask the question, and I'm not saying that it's not a real concern, but I also want to know why that was just coming forth. Like, why was that not something that throughout this entire process was talked about? And I realize we're learning more each day,
Yeah.
but that would have been something I would have thought would have been one of the main things: lungs, heart, any condition to deal with that with athletes.
I don't know that it's been studied enough in relation to COVID. That was the thing. I think these presidents probably heard this story in detail from a medical professional for the first time this weekend. I mean, there's so many other things that they have to deal with. I think this is probably the first, because the reaction was so strong, that this is the first time that they heard that this condition could be linked to COVID, could kill somebody that is of a young age. Whereas, with the COVID results itself, we know that this is almost impossible to kill a young person just of the COVID. But if COVID causes this and this can cause cardiac arrest, then I think that gave them real pause. We finished up the show yesterday, and I told you, I cannot believe that the MAC canceling is what triggered this. We found out later on. This is what caused it. This is what started it. The pushback came later in the day. It is, we are taking every precaution that we can. We had questions about yesterday. It's like, well, is Coach O going to say something? And Coach O has been out in the front of this when a lot of other coaches were silent, and that's okay. I'm not saying that everybody had to get out and make comments on this, but Ed didn't say anything yesterday, but he had said plenty in the weeks before. I mean, from the time that Mike Pence was here,
he's the
vice
voice
president
of college football.
He had been there.
Process.
So he didn't. Yesterday was really about the Big Ten and to a lesser extent the Pac-12. But Coach O was on Fox this morning with Sandra Smith, and of course he was on OTB this morning, as he is on every Tuesday. And well, the coach wants to play.
First of all, you got to address it and know it's out there. And but as far as the SEC, as far as I know, we're still gathering information. We're still fighting to play. We want to play. We've always spoke like we wanted to play. And I believe in our commissioner. I believe in our athletic director. I believe in our presidents. And that I know that we're going to do the right thing for our players, safety first. But I do believe with Dr. Katie O'Neill, with Shelley, with Jack, we have the best care for our players that they can get anywhere. Our players feel safe. I know that our players and most of the players around the country want to play, but I do believe that we need to continue, let the process take its place, continue on, and then make a proper decision when time comes. The easiest thing to do right now is say no.
So he mentioned Greg Sankey, and I've criticized Greg Sankey when I don't think he's shown good leadership. I think he's doing a pretty good job right here. This morning, he was on Dan Patrick. We don't have the audio turned around, but I'm going to give you the highlights of this right now, because there were three big things that he said this morning on Dan Patrick, and I think they're all huge. Number one is that the SEC medical advisors have given the green light to keep moving forward. Now, I think we need to make the distinction between moving forward and everybody's been cleared. They have been cleared to continue. The results have been good. The protocols are working. It doesn't mean that they can guarantee you can start on September the 26th. It's doing the plan is doing exactly what it was set out to do, which is to buy some more time, to see how much more information you can gain with these protocols, and most importantly, when the students come back to campus, what's going to happen? There's going to be another wave. Yes. We know that. How bad is it going to be? Nobody knows that. So when you say that the medical professionals have given the green light, whereas they haven't if you listen to the Mountain West, they've given the green light to continue. Keep going. You're doing fine. Let's just see.
Yep.
Doesn't mean that everything's good and fine and this is behind us, but for now, yes, you're fine. The second thing is he said that he doesn't see the SEC going at this alone. That's significant too, because when we talked about this yesterday, it's like, hey, listen, the league is like, we play our 10 games, our championship game. We'll get on down the road if that's what it takes. Now he's saying, you know what? No, that's not really what we want to do. And now the ACC, which came out yesterday, and anonymous sources to Dennis Dodd at CBS Sports, but it feels like John Swofford, is we're playing. Unless something happens between now and September, worse than what we have now, we're playing. SEC wants a partner. ACC seems more than willing to dance. Big 12's on the fence. We're going to find out more about the Pac-12 and the Big 10 later today. So Sankey indicated, at least this morning, you know what? We don't really want to go this alone. The third thing he said was it's not realistic to add a school or more than one school for 1 year. We had a little bit of fun yesterday with Ohio State and LSU in October, but that was more of a not even a pipe dream. It's just kind of one of those, hey man, it's 2020, why not? So those things I think give some clarification of where the league is, and I give him the most credit, Jacob, for not succumbing to the pressure, because when we saw this on March the 12th, man, when the dominoes start going, it's hard to check up, and the social media aspect of it seems so much louder, and it's very hard to stop and say, wait. We are not going to cancel everything today because we had one little thing happen. Right. Let's take a step back. Let's look at this. Let's get as much information we can and make an informed decision. And that's harder than it sounds.
It is. And Greg Sankey was the one that when the College World Series was canceled months ahead of time, you're exactly right. Like, he was like, wait a minute, hold up. Like, we're still months away from that. Now, it would have been canceled, right? It probably would have been. But he's saying, hey, let's just take our time. We don't have to rush into this. And I do think he's showing great leadership in the fact that he's not following the masses. He's actually going the other way, right? And he's saying, no, we're good. We've got a plan in place. We've done our homework. I don't know if y'all did. Doesn't sound like it, but we've done our homework. Hey, ACC, Big 12, if you want to listen, that's great. Now we're going to focus on us, but we'll also, hey, we're going to pay attention to you as well. But we said it yesterday. They're going to be the last one standing. If everybody falls, the SEC will still be there standing. And they're not, oh, man, gosh, Big Ten, the Pac-12, they've done this, that, and the other. No, they are letting their protocols that they put into place, which you've had months. You had months to put protocols in place. Well, they've put their protocols in place. They're standing by those, and they are not rushing. They know what they've created within all of these bubbles for all of these athletic teams. They've done a really nice job so far in getting these guys back on campus, getting these athletes back on campus, right, when you got them back from home. They've done a nice job to this point of not having a major outbreak. They've controlled the numbers. They've improved in all areas. And so he's saying, let's let it play out. Remember, relax.
Yeah, every school that has reported numbers has, almost without exception, less cases now than when the players reported the first time, which is what the coaches are saying. Remember that big story about the Tigerland party and LSU had 20 people and all that stuff? Well, how many do you have now? You got 2 or 3, I think is what Coach O said on Fox this morning. You got less. If you turn them back loose, and I know what you're saying, okay? Well, they're not turning them back loose. They're not sending them home. They're just saying they can't play football. Trust me, that's turning them loose.
Yep.
All right? You send them to school. You don't have the football protocols. They're not in a building every day. You're turning them loose.
I think
you will have more cases.
I think a lot of people, I think educated sports fans know what the structure of a college athlete does for them.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about all of us. Right. That structure is key because we've done it our entire lives. For 99% of the players that play at LSU, Kentucky, Tennessee, we've done this for 99% of our lives, and we've had that structure, and it's kept us out of a lot of things, a lot of mess, right? And so – you'll get your one-off guy that played his junior year and senior year and he got a scholarship because he's an athletic freak. Dwayne Bowe comes to mind, right? But for the most part, we've been doing this our entire lives, and this structure in the fall and being a part of a team, that has helped us get to this point, and it has changed the path of our lives forever.
Of course, there is the possibility that they won't be able to play. You can't ignore that
There he
possibility
is.
still
I
exists.
thought
Hey,
there
listen,
he
man,
is.
I'm trying to be balanced
There
over
he
here.
is.
And Ed Ogeron talked about that.
Now, at the end, if our players can't play, I'm for one that's not going to put them in harm's way, and they know that. So we're going to find out the best thing that we can do for our players, and obviously we're going to listen to our presidents and our commissioners, and I have 100% confidence that they're going to make the right decision.
Hope for the best, but plan, make preparations for the worst. What else? Is that not what you're supposed to do? I mean, when you have all of these kids entrusted to your care to do the very best you can for them, does anybody doubt that he's doing that? And I can't say all the coaches, but most of the coaches. I take Jim Harbaugh as where goofy as he is. I take him at his word. Okay, Nick Saban. We make jokes and all that stuff. I believe that these guys take this as seriously as anything, and they're not just going to say we're going to send them out there for the hell of it just so we can cash a paycheck.
We heard, I think it was Bruce Feldman that was telling us, of course he's writing the book, Flip the Script with Coach O there. Coach O's big change moment in his coaching career is when he said, you know what, I need to treat my players like I treat my sons. Like that's the relationship that we need to have, and that's the relationship that he does have with his players. You don't see a Joe Burrow get up there and cry on the Heisman stand when he's giving his speech to Coach O a lot of times. That doesn't happen, but that was a relationship that Coach O created with his players. And so, yeah, does he want to play football? You bet your ass. But he also, I mean, if he truly feels like it's not the safest thing, he wouldn't do it. I mean, he's got sons that play in the Southland. If he didn't think that was the safest thing for his son, he wouldn't send him to Lake Charles to play for McNeese.
And he mentioned that on Fox this morning as well. All right, Bill Bender from the Sporting News is with us next. Stephen Etheridge, Dr. Stephen Etheridge, will be with us later on this hour to talk about some of the developments of the last day. We are brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Well, today is August the 11th. It is National 811 Day.
811 holiday where we give as much of an outreach to the public as we can to celebrate calling 811 before any digging and excavation.
And we do that because if you dial 811, you're going to avoid all kinds of problems. You're going to avoid hitting that water line, hitting that communication line, hitting that power line that causes problems for you, causes problems for your neighbors. So don't be the guy that knocks out the power on your block. Don't be the guy that floods your neighbor's backyard. It's so simple to do. You call 811 and do it 2 days before you dig.
And it is free. If it's free, it's me. Take full advantage of this. I know that I was talking with my stepfather earlier today when he built his shed in the backyard. They came out, they did it, they spray painted. So everything was so easy when they were building their shed. That's what it can do for you. If you're putting any dirt in the ground, you have to do it. If it's a swing set, something very simple, it is free to you. Take full advantage. Don't be that guy or girl. Call 811 before you dig.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
Get an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At all All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it. It's a Tuesday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. The guys are live at Doe's Eat Place from 6 to 8 p.m. Come say hello and eat some of their delicious steak, or listen here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Big day in college football. We're all kind of huddled around Twitter, right? Waiting for the meetings to end and maybe a little bit more news where two conferences are concerned, at least the Big Ten and the Pac-12.
And Hanny, you know how your phone tells you like exactly how long you've been on a certain app? I'd hate to see how long I've been on Twitter since Saturday morning.
Yeah, it would be a large number, and I imagine for this guy too. Bill Bender with the Sporting News, of course, is covering all this along with us. Bill, good afternoon. How are you?
Yeah, I'm sure Chris, Pete, and Ryan are going to tell you the same thing after I get off the phone, too. Yeah, we're all kind of in a wait-and-see mode with what's going to happen with these two conferences today.
Don't discount the fact that something could happen in between or while we're on any one of these interviews, right, Bill? So the Big Ten is back at it again today. They went in at 9:30 this morning. What's your read on what's happening in that meeting and what could come out of it?
Well, yesterday felt like that. I keep trying to come up with the right phrase for it, like a trial balloon, and the coaches and the players shot that balloon out of the sky with we want to play. I thought the Big Ten was going to cancel yesterday, like some other people saw the reports. But, you know, it's just one of those things where I think maybe take a deep breath, like Ryan Day said, maybe do what the SEC did and shoot for a late September start and then go from there.
Bill, when you start to hear about Ohio State, Michigan, and Iowa, and Nebraska, you know, truly wanting to play and not really being interested in delaying or canceling the season, obviously, and you start to hear their names as far as could they join this conference, that conference, or whatever, how difficult would that truly be? Is that even feasible?
I don't think it's feasible, but I mean, it's more like we'll take our show here, and then, you know, we live in an environment where Notre Dame is in the ACC for a year. It's a marriage of convenience. If certain big programs wanted to make that step, I mean, there's so much at play there in terms of television contracts and conference contracts and bylaws and everything else that they would have to sort out. So I think it's doubtful at best. I mean, almost impossible for that to happen. But, you know, it allows our minds to wander a little bit when you hear Ohio State to the SEC or, you know, Penn State doing this. There are a certain set of programs that I think are dead set on playing football. And they're going to do what they can to make that happen, but they have to tell that to their fan bases, right? You're not going to, how many coaches are you going to hear out of the Power Five that say, well, we just don't want to play. We got to better pack it up. I don't know if any of them are going to come out and say that.
Bill, they may not have taken an official vote, but they certainly were leaning in the direction of a cancellation. I don't think Patrick pulled that story out of midair. but if they didn't actually vote, was the spur that struck them to move in that direction the myocarditis? Was that the one thing that scared the presidents more than anything?
Well, apparently in the Pac-12 meeting, there was a lot of sobering medical information about this virus that, again, we still don't know everything about it. It's still new. There's not a vaccine. You're putting student athletes in harm's way, potentially. And I know everybody's saying, well, if everybody's not positive, how can you have a positive player? I mean, look at baseball and the Cardinals. And you wouldn't have thought that the Cardinals would be at this stage of the season with 5 games and potentially getting shut down, one of baseball's most proud franchises. But that's the environment we live in. So there's a lot at work with that. But, I mean, obviously that condition and the former Florida State center dying this week or last week at age 27, that's a big deal.
Bill, I'm just curious, when you have coaches like Ryan Day and Harbaugh, and then you have the players coming out and we want to play movement, how much did that truly, do you think, impacted everything over the weekend? Because do you believe if they wouldn't have come out, I guess I'm asking, would we be a canceled Big Ten season right now?
I mean, I think Ohio State and Michigan were going to throw their weight in there no matter what. And as I pointed to in one of my articles, this is a thing that's been going on since, Ohio State and Michigan fans remember 1973. There was a vote. The Big Ten voted to send Ohio State over Michigan to the Rose Bowl after the teams played to a 10-10 tie. And it's considered a controversial decision I wasn't alive for, but know every detail about almost 50 years later. So imagine what we're dealing with here, where you have school presidents, a commissioner, athletic directors, football coaches, all trying to sort this out, and all with different interests. It's not all that different than 5 conferences having different interests as well.
Bill, when they come out of this thing today, their options are, and this is in no particular order, canceling outright, postponing the season deeper into September, postponing the season into October, or basically just saying we're going to wait and see. You got a favorite among those options, or one I haven't considered?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the Big Ten, a pause and maybe pushing the schedule back. I never thought it was feasible for them to play on Labor Day weekend. And again, the Sun Belt just said today they're going to play on Labor Day weekend. I think the best course of action might be to try that late September start like the SEC has. I think the Pac-12, and maybe a different story, they might be the first conference to go. Nobody wants to be, because obviously the risk factor is if the Pac-12 and Big Ten cancel, then watch the ACC and SEC play. That won't look good for their respective commissioners. I know the Big 12's kind of team is that bridge between the 5 in terms of where they're at right now, and that will be important to see what they do as well.
I mean, Bill, if you play a spring season in the Big Ten, I mean, it completely changes the dynamics on the field as far as who would be the favorites and things like that, because obviously your power program, your Ohio States and your Michigans and your Penn States, we all assume that they would have guys opt out of the season to get ready for the NFL draft. In fact, we've already seen Penn State's top defensive player do so. And so you're talking about something that could completely change the dynamic of the entire conference, obviously off the field, but on the field as well.
Well, and that's why I don't think spring football is just a reliable option either. I mean, the Big Ten, even before this talk started, saw Rashad Bateman opt out. He's first-round receiver. Rondale Moore, one of the most exciting players in college football, opted out. Micah Parsons could be the best side-to-side linebacker in the game. He's out, and I don't think any of those guys are going to play in the spring. That's the one thing about the SEC. There's been minimal opt-outs. I think Auburn had a guy, a couple others, but you're not seeing Alabama and LSU and Georgia guys opt out, because I think it's that wait-and-see mode that these programs have taken on. Now, I'll say this. I still think the Big Ten made the right call with conference-only scheduling, and some people got all up in arms about that. That was the right call. Now, I think what they're struggling with here is if they're the first one to say we cancel, it's really going to – I don't know. I don't think it will affect the SEC or ACC, but it's not going to make them happy.
Bill, does the Pac-12 automatically do whatever the Big Ten here decides?
I think they're linked in a lot of ways. I think, they're kind of waiting to see which one goes first in some ways. I mean, the Pac-12 obviously COVID numbers in California have been high throughout, and in the Pacific Northwest as well. I think that's a different region of the country that you're dealing with than in terms of what we're dealing with here in the Rust Belt. And I know what the numbers are in Ohio and Michigan and Indiana, PA. I mean, these are all states that I care a great deal about, obviously, living up here, and you want the numbers to be wrong. But, I mean, I guess the contradictory message to me is, you know, we got high school football up and running right now, and they plan on playing on the 24th. That's in 2 weeks. So, and Ohio is one of, and Louisiana, where you guys are, these are the 7 states that produced 100 FBS players last year. Okay, so, I mean, I'm watching the high schools too, and right now Ohio is planning on going.
Speaking of Ohio, I do want to ask you a question before we let you go, Bill. Obviously, I know that the University of Ohio means a lot to you, and we know that the MAC's not going to play this fall. It just, to me, it just seems like it's going to be so difficult for all of those schools in the MAC to really recover. I mean, they absolutely have to play a spring season, in my opinion, to try to make up some revenue, or they could just completely, I mean, in some cases, maybe fold their football programs, or at least move down a peg.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I was heartbroken Saturday. I take a lot of pride in my school. I've told you guys once or twice, and you know, it's been since 1968 that Ohio's won the MAC championship, and we've been fortunate enough to have Frank Solich for so long as our coach, and for them not to have that chance. I mean, he's getting up there in age too, so we know we only have so many runs with Frank left. It is, and then you hope they can bounce back financially, and I think John Steinbrecher made the right decision, though. I mean, financially, it might not have been feasible. They've heard some things medically. I think it's a combination of those factors. And if they can get a spring season and salvage something, we'll watch it. We'll be ready for football. I think we'll be ready to watch football 365 straight days when we finally get it.
Bill Bender, Sporting News, appreciate your time. We'll be in touch.
Hey, thanks so much, guys. Take care and be well down there. I appreciate you.
Thanks a lot. Dr. Stephen Etheridge will be with us a little bit later on in this hour. We'll learn a little bit more about myocarditis. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Whether you're watching with us on CST or on YouTube, our channel 1045 ESPN, you can go back and get prior interviews. The Hanging with Hester and Hanny page on 1130, the Tiger Up in Shreveport, and on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mahente.
What happens? Anybody can tell you what happened. What does it mean? Less people can do that. But we're going to focus on what happens next.
Mornings, 5 to 7, starting Monday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of OSSIE Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of OSSIE Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auction...
Coming up on Wednesday's Off the Bench, what happened on College Football Decision Day 2020 and how does it affect your LSU Tigers? Plus, did the Pelicans beat the Kings? You don't care. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Chris Doring from the SEC Network with us in the second hour. Dr. Stephen Etheridge will be with us in about 6 or 7 minutes to explain the latest condition that has presidents very, very nervous about continuing the season, which is myocarditis. The ACC medical expert has gone public today, though. This is Dr. Cameron Wolfe. He is a infectious disease specialist. Did you want to go to med school this segment or not?
You can. That's above my skill set.
Well, it's above my intellectual level most of the time. When you talk about infectious disease specialist, I couldn't have even filled out the application. But anyway, Dr. Cameron Wolfe is apparently pretty respected enough to run the ACC's medical advisory group, and said, we believe we can mitigate it down to a level that makes everyone safe. He's talking about playing football. Can we safely have two teams meet on the field? I would say yes. Will it be tough? Yes. Will it be expensive and hard, lots of work? For sure. But I do believe you can sufficiently navigate the risk of bringing COVID onto the football field or into the training room at a level that's no different from living as a student on campus. Okay, so this is one of the honchos. This is one of the scientists, physicians that they are leaning on to make their decisions in the Atlantic Coast Conference. He talked about some of the things that have to be done, some of the protocols, and with this myocarditis, they have actually done a good bit of testing for this up at UW at Washington. Their athletes have a review of their cardiovascular symptoms in athletes who have COVID, and they have what's called an electrocardiogram. This measures the heart's electrical signals. I am reading this, guys. Don't think that I know this off the top of my head. They check for abnormalities. It's a blood test for problems, heart inflammation, and they do this series of tests that are designed to check for problems post-COVID. Okay, now this is up at the University of Washington, where you can get into Seattle, where there's a pretty, extensive medical network. I don't know what any of that stuff means. It just sounds pretty expensive, and kind of tough for the protocols to get in. So they asked Dr. Kyle Gorey, who is the team physician at Kansas State, about some of these processes. And what Dr. Kyle said was, getting an echocardiogram in Seattle is pretty much very different from getting one down in Manhattan, Kansas. And now so with all that medical jargon that none of us understands, that, I just spent 45 seconds for something that nobody outside the physicians out there understand. We're getting back to some of the heart of this matter, which is how much does it cost? Once we get past can you do it safely, then it's how much does it cost?
Yep.
The ACC says we can do this safely. The SEC, for the moment, says we can do this safely. The Pac-12 says we don't know. The Big Ten says we don't know. The Big 12 says we're going to wait to see what everybody else does, and then we'll act accordingly. Yesterday, the Mountain West says we can't do this. Saturday, the MAC said we can't do this. Today, UConn and Old Dominion, UMass and Old Dominion said we can't do this. Okay, Sun Belt says we can. SWAC said we couldn't. Yeah. Ivy League says we won't. They could probably buy everybody's, but they just said we won't. And we've gone conference by conference. Mm-hmm. So once you get past is it safe, then you get to what does it cost? Because it's a big difference in being able to perform these tests. This is not we're not making this stuff up. Whereas it's a great deal of difference between Seattle, Washington, and Manhattan, Kansas. Right. And Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Starkville, Mississippi. Yeah. Sorry, Rivers, wherever she is.
Yeah, we talked a long time about that. We talked about the resources and, not only the budgets, but having the resources around you and in your town and, quick access to those things. And so that we knew that was going to be one of, if not the biggest hurdle getting on the field was, well, they can do that and we can't. And that's even within the same conference. Remember way back when Commissioner Sankey mentioned, we want to have all of our institutions, but if we have to move forward and we only have 12 of the 14, that might be something we take a look at.
Yeah. The Mountain West, for instance, is a good example of this. They have shut down their season, or at least moved it to the spring, but Air Force might play. Well, Air Force
resources.
Yes, thank you. Army's playing.
Yeah.
The other independents may not. BYU, for instance, I think wants to play, can't find anybody to play.
Right.
Join a conference. Notre Dame.
Liberty's playing 3 ACC games.
Liberty's playing. Can you do this? Can we do it safely? Well, okay, yes, but this is what it's going to entail. Okay, how much does that cost? Okay, we don't have our guarantee game at the shoe this year, so no, we can't do that. It's part of what we're monitoring today. We are into subjects that we usually don't delve into, but it's important. It's what's driving a lot of this conversation today. We'll talk with Dr. Stephen Etheridge when we come back. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
GoTro's Outdoor Power, helping you with all of your property maintenance needs, and our friends over at SCAG offering you 60 months interest-free financing on your commercial units, on your residential units, all of their zero-turn units in stage. Their Simply the Brave program continues with 15% off MSRP for all first responders, all of our medical, all of our police, all of our fire. All of our first responders can participate in the Simply the Brave program. As you get free delivery and a warranty that will allow you for 60 months, 5 years worth of worry-free mowing.
And don't forget, also in the month of August, when you buy a Skag Patriot Z, Tiger Cat, Cheetah, or Turf Tiger at GoTro's Outdoor Power, you'll get your choice of an Echo trimmer or blower absolutely free, plus still offering that 0% interest, like Hanny said, financing on all Skag ZTRs. If COVID has you worried about leaving the house and shopping, GoTro's can do 100% of the sale over the phone, including the financing, and GoTro's offers that free delivery like Handy's talking about. So if you're listening up in North Louisiana, remember, you can also get that GoTro's Outdoor Power equipment delivered to you for free. GoTro'sOutdoorPower.com. That's GoTro's. We make it easy.
Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube page. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat. Find highlights for each show's channel and get notified whenever we go live.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. and I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is big. Really big. I mean really, really, really big. Because Honda's summer clearance event is going on right now at Richards Honda. With 0 to the 4th power on brand new Honda Civics. That's 0 down, 0 due at signing, 0 security deposit, and 0 first month payment. Plus, summer clearance on every new vehicle in stock. Just another reason why people call Richards Honda the smart choice. I-12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of OSSIE Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of OSSIE Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Yo, join us for a Tuesday edition of Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richards Honda. Hunt Palmer sits in with us for an hour, and of course, we'll keep you up to date with what's going on in college football on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Joining us now, Dr. Stephen Etheridge, who is a weekly contributor here on Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Doc, how you doing?
Doing well, guys. How y'all doing today?
We're doing good. Take us to med school for 90 seconds. Explain what myocarditis is.
Yeah, I don't know that we've talked more about this than the past couple of days, but so myocarditis is a well-recognized but not often well-understood condition where something causes inflammation of the heart muscle. By definition, that's what myo is, the heart muscle. Carditis, that's the inflammation of the myocardial muscle. So usually we know that it is viral causes. It's one of those things, though, where it's not always perfectly understood. There's a lot of other things, sometimes medication, sometimes genetic predisposition. But we do recognize that there are multiple viruses out there that rarely cause this. And when it does, it can be a pretty significant heart condition that can result.
When we hear it's rare, Dr. Etheridge, right, and it's a rare condition, how rare is it? Could you put a number on it? Is it something that when you see it, it kind of makes you wonder, okay, well, this is so rare that I need to call somebody and have this conversation?
Well, definitely yes to that last category. You know, as far as how rare it is, like, you know, to be honest with you, it's something that most of us see very, very infrequently. And in all reality, I think, you know, I've talked to some of our cardiologists about this. We've discussed it. We've been doing our due diligence here. And really, more often than not, what will happen is you'll see an otherwise healthy, say, 30-year-old individual who all of a sudden presents with heart failure, meaning that their heart is no longer pumping as effectively as it should, especially for someone in their age and demographic. we oftentimes just assume that they had a viral myocarditis in that scenario, because the problem is it's very hard to catch sometimes. This is something that is often caught in the aftermath, because what can sometimes happen outside the really severe cases is that you see it down the road when people present with cardiac problems. Now, in the acute setting, when you do catch it urgently, it often will present similar to somebody who's having a heart attack. They'll often have chest pain, shortness of breath. They'll feel palpitations. Sometimes there are diagnostic changes that we look for in their blood work on an EKG. Sometimes you even get, an echocardiogram, which is basically an ultrasound of the heart. So we can detect it those ways. But more often than not, it's something that we often just assume, and then we look back in the patient's history, and maybe they had this really bad viral illness 6 months, a year, 10 years earlier. And I think that's where this concern is coming in with this COVID virus, is that are we worried that it's going to cause this either acutely or down the road?
Is it standard procedure to order an echocardiogram for somebody who has had COVID if they're not showing any of the symptoms of the heart?
Currently, that is not. And really not for any viral condition. The problem is we know there are viruses out there that cause this. Influenza, hepatitis, some of the common cold viruses even cause this. In fact, some of these what are called enteroviruses are the ones that are the most common. And these, generally speaking, do not cause it. It is a very, very rare thing. Most of us will never know somebody who experiences this, we hope. It's that rare that you probably don't know anybody that ever has or ever will have this. At least if you look at what we know is going on out there, and in sports, we do see this happen. Even prior to COVID-19, on occasion, you'll hear of a story of a kid somewhere that had some type of a cardiomyopathy. In fact, when these kids come into LSU, part of our screening protocols, we do get an echocardiogram. A lot of your big colleges are now doing that. It's not a requirement, but, we do try and go and do everything we can to look for maybe something happened in your lifetime that no one picked up on. But right now, this is not your typical screening for really anyone.
I don't want to be callous to the subject, but what does an echocardiogram cost?
That is a good question. You know what? I don't ever look at the bills, if you want to be honest. I know a lot of times for some of these screening, I will say that a lot of the cardiologists here locally, I know in other places, especially when we're talking about sports, they will often work with a lot of the whether it be the high schools around here. There are programs where we can get echocardiograms if they don't have good insurance or they're unable to get it done. There are a lot of the cardiologists who have been very generous of their time and their resources, and they'll usually do them for either for free or for nothing. In those scenarios, obviously we all aren't that fortunate, but yeah, they're not cheap.
Yeah, and so we were talking earlier before you came on. Not everybody has that resource to be able to do that, and I guess I want to kind of ask, what would you? Is there something that you can see on the field, or something? Is there a pain, or is there something the player can kind of tell you to make you go and pull that test, or is it something that you just have to catch when they come in or throughout the time when you do it?
Well, there are things you look for. I mentioned some of these typical cardiovascular conditions. So obviously, right out of the gate, chest pain and shortness of breath. And of course, we've all been there. You're running. Of course, you get some tightness in the chest, but something that's beyond what is normal, and especially in somebody who is a trained athlete. If they're struggling more than normal, could it just be they're out of shape? Maybe they missed some time, especially the ones who did maybe have a previous COVID infection. Perhaps they just were down for a couple of weeks on top of maybe, not doing the best in the off season or whatever. So in those scenarios, we have to take it seriously. But I think the one thing that I stress to people at any level of athletics is say, look, right now, or really any time, you should never just say, he's just not being tough. You got to always assume the worst, and then you work your way back from there. So, we've all been there, like I said. But so for me, the first thing is, are they having chest pain, shortness of breath? And especially if this is something that is different, it's a lot easier in some of these college athletes because they're well-tuned athletes. They know their bodies very well. So in most of these, if they come to me and say, hey, I just don't feel right, well, for me, that immediately raises concerns. And I can tell you, a lot of what we're doing right now, and every college is different right now with how we're handling it. But, we are screening all of our guys when they come back. We're doing symptom checklists where we're letting our strength coaches know that these are the guys that have had it. Watch them more closely and don't just necessarily jump on if they're kind of lagging. Then we need to know about that. We are getting EKGs on all of them before they return to sport. We're adding more and more to this as we understand. And it's hard to know even if this is overkill. Realistically, this is such a new thing. I think you can make the argument that, well, myocarditis has been around for a long time. Is it going to be any worse with this virus than others? We don't know, but we are taking, severe precautions. I can tell you, I've done lots of research. We've looked at a lot of these guys. We're, reaching out to the experts all around the world and trying to make sure we're keeping these guys safe.
Doctor, forgive me for the simplicity of the question, but does is there any link that the COVID actually triggers the myocarditis?
We think there probably is a correlation there, to be fair. But to be fair, that is also true, like I said, of multiple other viruses. We know that in those who are really sick, the ones who end up in the hospital, that there's a very high percentage of those individuals who do suffer heart damage. But again, they are also very easy to catch because they are very sick. They're in the hospital. So the question is, in these, asymptomatic individuals or these very mild symptom individuals, is there any increased risk? And, right now, the data suggests that while it may be happening, it doesn't show that it's happening in any high numbers yet. Now we have to follow up on this data, but outside those really sick individuals, I think most of these people, it's probably going to be a comparable risk to other viruses. Maybe it'll be a little bit higher. We don't know. Obviously, it would be great to have that crystal ball, but right now we're not seeing it, at least very, very high percentages.
One of these days we'll get around to asking you about high ankle sprains again, but not today. Dr. Stephen Etheridge, thank you so much for your time. We'll talk to you soon.
My pleasure.
Back on the other side, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
This is a house call. This is a test result. This is a prescription refill. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare. Start your virtual visit today at Auctioner Health.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hour number 2. Thank you for being with us here today, whether you're with us in Baton Rouge on 104.5 ESPN or 1130 The Tiger up in Shreveport, watching with us on CST on our YouTube channel 104.5 ESPN. You can pick up our previous interviews on our Hangin' with Hester and Hanny page on YouTube, and we've gotten good response back on our interview with Dr. Stephen Etheridge about the effects of myocarditis, which 2 days ago I had no idea what that was. If you'd have told me that was a new form of sushi, I would have said, okay, no problem. But we're getting an
don't
education.
Don't eat it if you see sushi that's
right,
named that, by the way.
Exactly. Hunt Palmer with us here in hour number 2. Chris Doring will be with us at the bottom of the hour. Hunt, how you doing?
I'm doing quite well. I have had to stop looking at Twitter because everybody's losing their mind, but I'm okay.
You know what? This is actually one of the days that if you just watch the news part of Twitter, it's actually keeping you somewhat up to date. And there's so much information that I actually am using it for that. Now, if you're going to watch the masses lose their mind, then yes. But if you stick to solid, credible news sources, you're going to get some news. For instance, we've been concentrating on the colleges, but we should take a look at what the NFL is doing, because they're not in a bubble. They're not like what's going on in Orlando. They're in a little bit different situation in that. So this was posted by NFL Research that so far 107 NFL players have gone on the COVID list, on the reserve list for COVID, and we know some of them. 80 have been activated, 80 out of 107. Of the 27 players still on the list, that's under 1% of the rosters league-wide. 18 teams have no players on the list, and 3 players total have gone on the list in the past 3 days out of 7,500 tests done. 7,500 tests, they've had 3 people go on the list. Jacob, you've been in the LSU building. You know what the protocols are there. You know that they're as stringent as they could possibly be. We saw numbers out of the University of Michigan yesterday. I haven't been in any of these NFL buildings, and I don't know any media that has. Everybody's been, that's not non-essential, been put out. But I got to imagine that their protocols are every bit as strict as they could possibly be. They know what's on the line, too. They seem to be getting the message. They seem to be moving forward.
It is. It's essential people only inside that building, and all of those people are being tested, and they're being asked to do everything the right way as well. Remember, this isn't only student athletes or professionals in the NFL doing the right thing. It's everyone doing the right thing. It's coaches, it's player personnel, it's staff. Hey, if you're not here, don't be there, right? Be smart. Protect everyone in this building, and it takes everyone buying into that to be able to do it. I told you the other day, right? I had something in the LSU equipment room I had to pick up, and I had my mask on, the whole deal, picked it up, and that's about all I could do. Like, take 2 steps right back out the door, because it is much access as I have to that building in the past. You don't have it now. It's, hey, no, you ain't going in the halls. You can't come to practice. You can't do those things, and that's how it should be. Right now, it should be only the people who are essential in that building to be in there, and that's how you stop the spread, right? That's how you get those numbers down to a 0 or to a 1 or to a 2, and you control everything. And so the NFL, you can guarantee they're going to do that, and they're doing that right now. In college athletics, you're seeing your bigger programs be able to do it as well.
The thing I've hated the most about the sports side of this is all the what do you think's going to happen? It's just no one knows, and we just continue to flap our gums, and that's why I have to get out of this Twitter about if they're going to play college football or not moving forward. What I'm good with is looking at actual information and reacting to it. And what we know now is that if you keep this thing out, we can play and everything's okay. If you slip up and let it in, like the Marlins did and like the Cardinals did, it's hard to get rid of. The Cardinals, we're going to play on Monday. We're going to play on Wednesday. We're going to play on Friday. You can't get rid of it. So we have concrete information that says if you let this thing get in, everybody's going to have to shut it down. And that's what the Cardinals have essentially had to do for 2-3 weeks now. So there's your model. Don't let that happen.
Hunt thinks myocarditis is the new Cubs lefty reliever.
We need new relievers.
Okay, see that
all kinds of relievers.
See, that one was pretty funny.
I'll take him.
I like that. Hunt thinks an EKG is part of the Russian military.
I don't know.
I didn't do enough Hunisms last week. We had something going on, so it's just something like that. Hunt's too lazy to do 2 hours. No, that's not.
I used to do 2 hours.
I can reject
did 3
that
on
one.
Thursday.
I did 3 last week.
I mean, Hanny was sipping Mai Tais, had his toes in the sand on Thursday. Hunt was here 3 hours.
I watched part of the show. Like I said, I was in pre-op, and I'm watching the show. And this is right about the time.
Is that a bar in Orange Beach?
Boy, look, if it was, I'd be there. This is right about the time, and I had been, I had gone through all of the prep, hadn't had my phone in quite a while, and the first thing I hear Hunt say, I'm sitting up there with this gown that doesn't fit, of course, is the fact that Jason Day is on the lead at the PGA, and I'm like, he gave me that guy.
There you go.
I'm on that guy. That's great.
Didn't work.
Not as well by Sunday.
No.
Hey, he played well.
He played well. And
yeah.
Morikawa went and won it. And that's what I prefer to see. I mean, as interesting as Dustin Johnson 3-putting from 12 feet at Chambers Bay to lose is, I would rather see someone go win the golf tournament, and Morikawa did that.
Morikawa did that. It had some similarities to what Gary Woodland did at the U.S. Open last year, which was Brooks Koepka did not play badly last year at the U.S. Open, but Woodland went out and won the tournament. Paul Casey didn't play bad, but Morikawa went out and hit the shot of the tournament, probably the shot of the year so far in golf on 16. And this was after he had chipped in right before that. So the chip in, which put him in, I think at the time it was a 6-way tie for the lead, 6 or 7 people. He chips in to put himself there and then hits that bomb on 16 to put him 10 feet from eagle to basically win the tournament.
He's not done winning either. He's some kind of good.
He can play, but there's so many. I love his game, and we watched him. He was in a playoff in play one more. Was it the first tournament back or the second tournament back that Morikawa was in the playoff? It was the second tournament back.
Didn't Webb Simpson win the first one?
Yeah, it was the second tournament back, and he was there, and he left one short in the playoff, and he lost, but he had played magnificently up to that point. He's going to be a force.
He's a ball striker, and in an era where it's length. We got to roll the balls back. He doesn't hit it a mile. He hits it long enough as a young man. He hits it long enough, but he doesn't hit it like Bryson and like some of those other guys like Dustin Johnson does. And he's not one of the best putters in the world. He putted really well this week, but he has had issues with the putter. He just strikes the ball with his irons really as good as anybody on the planet.
Well, I think the kid's great, but I looked at that leaderboard on Sunday, and at any one time you had 5, 6, 7 people on the lead, 8, 9, 10, as many as 12 people within 2 shots of the lead in the back of a major. And you're watching Koepka, who was good enough into Sunday to put himself in contention and then folded on Sunday, which he usually doesn't do in the majors. And you had Bryson DeChambeau, who had been a little bit quiet through the first 2 days until he hits this 95-foot bomb on Saturday to put himself back in the golf tournament. And you have old staples like Justin Rose and Jason Day and Paul Casey, who are all there. You got all of these really elite players that are up there near the lead with some new players like Cameron Champ, who we're not used to seeing in the final round on a Sunday at a major. And this is all without guys like Rory McIlroy or Justin Thomas or Tiger Woods being anywhere near the lead. This was entertaining golf on Sunday.
It was a great golf course. I mean, there's something to be said for the U.S. Open when they make Bethpage Black 7,700 yards and they throw the rough up a foot and you have to hit it down a cart path in the middle of the fairway to try to score, and you can't. This wasn't like that. There were some drivable par 4s. The rough was not going to kill you. It just produced an entertaining golf tournament. I think we get kind of caught up sometimes in making the golf course almost impossible. And there are a lot of people that like to see carnage, and I like to see guys work, but I also like the ability to make some shots where you're not just clinging for dear life trying to make a par like you are half the time at the U.S. Open.
I thought it was a tempting golf course in that there were some I thought
that as well.
There were some plays to be made. Okay, there were some shots to be made. Like a 16 and 7. These are drivable par 4s. But you can easily get into a bad spot trying to make a big number, trying to make an eagle, and end up with a big number on the other side. So I don't know. I thought it was fun. Jacob, I would love to be talking. Ordinarily on August the 11th, we would be into. So what we've got now is a real battle at this swing tackle position between. So
A and B.
We'd be talking about the right guard battle between whoever.
And I can't say typically I would watch any major, and I've watched more golf this spring and summer than I ever have before. But I'll be honest, once Saturday hit, and I was like, wait a minute, who's saying what? I was so locked into Twitter that I missed a hell of a golf tournament. But you truly felt like, though, if you weren't on Twitter and you weren't hitting refresh, you were going to miss something. And not that you had to have the news right there, because I'm not trying to break news, but I wanted the news right then and there because it felt like at any moment it was going to blow up.
If you're gone from Playboy Marty, what's the first thing I asked you when I walked in here today? Okay, walked in here, said, I've been driving, okay, for 15 minutes. I've been off of Twitter. What did I miss? That's today. That's what we're dealing with today. I would much rather be talking about offensive line battles and fifth defensive back and third wide receiver and all of those things and what happened in the Saints preseason game last Saturday that didn't happen. But none of that is available to us. So when you we did our Pelicans deal yesterday. We're going to have to put a bow on that before the end of the week. But this is, if we're going to take a break from the COVID talk, which we've got to do the COVID talk because that's what today is. When we do a break from that, we talk about live action. So what do we have? We had live golf.
Hey, we pretty much had a COVID-free Thursday, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that. I mean, we didn't talk a lot of COVID.
I did not notice. I don't remember what we talked about, honestly.
Yeah, it was a great show.
Go back and get it online.
That's right.
Go back and get it from there. We are brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Chris Doring with us at the bottom of the hour. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny and Hunt on a Tuesday, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you by Baton Rouge Foundation Repair. You can find them online at brfoundation.com. Baton Rouge Foundation Repair offers services to correct the settlement of both slab foundations and pier and beam foundations. You can also level your above-ground wood frame house. Some of the things that contribute to those foundation problems: plumbing leaks, evaporation, poor soil conditions, poor drainage, poor foundation construction, tree roots, all of those things. But we always talk about the poor drainage. Do not allow the poor drainage around your slab to affect what you've got going on, because Baton Rouge Foundation Repairs water chill pilings are engineered to withstand poor drainage conditions. We always tell you they've been in the greater Baton Rouge area for over 22 years. Michael LaMonica, lifelong resident of Baton Rouge, is going to stand behind his work. You can check out their warranties right there on the homepage of brfoundation.com. Don't be asked to pay twice for your foundation repair work. Get Baton Rouge Foundation Repairs water chilled pilings, and estimates are always free. You can give them a call at 225-275-0101. Check them out online at brfoundation.com.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Visit Bayou Ford for a new 2020 Ford F-150 for only $30,400 with 0% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
At All Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Conference presidents across the Power 5 are set to meet. We'll have all the recap and reaction Tuesday. Join us 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hunt catches his ball on 18 at putt-putt so he can play another round.
No, you got to let it go.
Ooh, I do that as well.
Cheapskate.
Yeah, big time.
you got your kid up there right at the base of the clown's mouth?
Pre-children. It's pre-children.
Okay.
Pre-children. Hunt thinks he doesn't owe Jake a steak.
That's correct.
Who won the game? The Jayhawks or the Red Raiders?
No, Texas Tech lost the game.
Who won it, though?
No one won.
There's a scoreboard, you know. There's a way you can keep up with this.
I don't subscribe to it.
Hunt thinks the Braves played beat it for the Jays catcher because he strikes out a lot.
That was quite a story.
He was not master of his domain when he was arrested.
Not Lord of the Manor, King of the Castle.
Not a good out loud word on the radio.
Hunt thinks Josh Rosen would cost too much to bring into camp.
Oh, now you see. Okay, all right. That one's got a little bit.
I heard he was free.
He was. Is he he's in Dolphins camp, right? Not that it matters if he's in Dolphins camp. Dolphins have other quarterbacks.
Two other ones.
This was pre Jameis Winston. Okay, I didn't realize Jameis Winston was going to be close to free. Given the choice between Josh Rosen and Jameis Winston, that's not
what a
really
weird way to start a career. Let's remember, he's still a young football player. I mean, he was
a top 10 pick 3 years ago,
and he was a guy that was going to be a franchise quarterback, and then he lost a little bit of his luster in the draft. He's still a top 10 pick, but you know what I'm saying. He wasn't the number one overall pick. And then he gets traded, and you still get a pretty good asset for a guy that you didn't have a lot of leverage with because you drafted Kyler Murray, and then he loses out. It's been just horrendous anytime he's gotten to a game, and there's no shine left there. I mean, we've seen bust before, but this one even feels different.
It does, because when's the last time you had a top 10 quarterback end up on? We don't think he's going to make the Dolphins, right? But he'll jump on a practice squad.
Fitzmagic's going to be the two if Tua starts. For
exactly.
Sure.
Those two guys will be there, and he won't be on the Dolphins. So he will be, but I imagine he'll catch on somewhere because altogether now he's free. He will be on a practice squad somewhere. He will be on his third team in his fourth NFL season. Give me the biggest, the biggest busts of all time. None of them end up on 3 teams in 4 years. I mean, it just
Trent Richardson.
Good one.
Cleveland, Colts,
Indianapolis. Oakland. Yeah. Oh, you would come up with one when I said that there's none that you can come up with. But the quarter. Okay, that's a great one. Yeah. Quarterbacks. Right.
Quarterbacks usually get at least 3 years when they're drafted that high.
If you've invested a top 10 pick, they're going to give you an enormous amount of leeway in order to make it. Heath Schuler got traded before his before his fourth year, I think.
But typically, you're going to get 3 seasons to be the guy, or at least attempt to be the guy.
If Jimmy Ott is listening to this show right now, he is smiling because he hated that guy from the very minute. And I kept saying, well, he's not that bad. He's not that bad. And Jimmy, okay, you were right, because he thought the kid was soft. And you know what? Whatever his problem is, it's enough to where an NFL team gave up on him after a year. A second NFL team where he's basically free is going to give up on him, and he will be probably on a practice squad somewhere a little bit later on. We still have got nothing out of the Big Ten meeting, which started this morning, I believe, at 9:30 our time. So we're waiting on that. The Pac-12 also has their meeting going on. Feels like the momentum shifted towards a delay and not an outright cancellation. That's what it feels like right now.
Do we think, when they say delayed, are we thinking September 26th? Are we thinking first weekend of October? Or are we thinking later, possibly winter, spring?
I think you're thinking, right now I'm thinking September 26th. That's not even a delay. That's where the Pac-12 was supposed to start anyway. I think they may just pump the brakes on an absolute cancellation. Their medical experts tell them something, then the ACC's medical expert telling theirs. Then the SEC's medical expert is telling theirs. Doctors are like lawyers. They can have different opinions, right? So whose medical expert are we listening to? Everybody's listening to their own.
The one that gets us to a yes.
In the SEC and the ACC, they are. In the Pac-12, probably not. You think they are waiting on the Big Ten to show them some guidance? Would the Pac-12 dare step out on their own first and make a cancellation?
No, they're followers.
They're okay.
I mean, I think they've proven that in almost everything they've done, and not only this situation, but just in recent history.
Larry Scott makes a bunch of money, man. He's supposed to show some leadership at some point, even if it's to say, no, we'll take the lead on canceling. We'll own this. We'll take responsibility for this. I said it in the first hour. I thought Greg Sankey this morning showed some pretty strong chops. Yesterday, the tweet about great. I'm going to be patient. The statements this morning that, hey, listen, our medical people have given us the go ahead to continue. Not necessarily, the all's clear for September 26th, but the green light right now. Yes, you are okay. No, we're not going to go it alone. We don't think that that's feasible to just, if everybody else in college football cancels, that we will stay there and we will play 10 games in an SEC championship and we'll be the lone surviving league. And also that it is not feasible to add a team or two to the league for 1 year. The ACC thought that was. Every league is different. The ACC said, yeah, we can add a team for 1 year. Notre Dame. Yeah, we can play a non-conference game. Big Ten said no. Pac-12 said no. SEC said no to non-conference games. Big 12 is sort of on the fence where that
let me throw this to both of y'all. Since Notre Dame obviously did join the ACC for this year, but they've already had ties. Their other sports are a member of the ACC conference, but they weren't in football. So do you believe it was something that was just an easy, you can join us for this year since we already played that schedule, and other teams just literally could not do it? I mean, because it happened quickly as far as Notre Dame joining them. I know they already had kind of a plan in place because of the other sports, and you had this schedule already. But, we keep asking the question, and nobody's really given the answer at the end of the day as far as could it happen? Could Nebraska do it? Could Nebraska say, you know what, for a year, we're going to do this? Or if I'm Ohio State, Michigan, any of those teams.
Your issue becomes in the TV contracts. Notre Dame controls their own TV contract by themselves without having to answer to anybody. Nebraska doesn't. Nebraska has a TV contract that is tied into the Big Ten. Now, you want to go out and you want to play a non-conference game or two, that's up to you. But your TV deal, your TV rights, your TV money is tied into the league. So once you got past that one non-conference game or two non-conference games, you want to go off and play in another league. Where's the TV money going to go? That's the answer to your question. The problem with Nebraska going into the Big 12 to me isn't so much the logistical nightmare of finding them 9 or 10 games at this point. It's, well, what are you going to do with the TV money? Because the Big 10 ain't sharing theirs. Not with a team that's not playing in their league. And I don't know if the Big 12 is going to be over the moon to share their TV money either. Everybody's keeping their TV money. The Irish are different. The Irish have their own TV money, but they're the only ones. That's my answer to it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything more to add than that. It's an easy.
That's why we brought you today.
Exactly. Well, it's an easy build-in because Notre
Dame's
Dame's already got ACC teams on the schedule, and it's part of the. It's just part of the agreement, and it's just that's the easiest piece of the puzzle to slide in is Notre Dame for the ACC. If any school, any conference, Notre Dame to the ACC is easiest because they've already got a contract with them.
If BYU had a television contract with ESPN that paid them even half of the money that the money that NBC pays to Notre Dame, and they waved that money around and said, "We'll join your league for a year," they'd have a schedule by now. They don't have that luxury. Chris Doring from the SEC Network is with us next, hanging with Hester and Hanny. Again, you can go back on our YouTube page, subscribe 1045 ESPN, get previous interviews, the Hanging with Hester and Hanny page. 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Our friends over at Tiger Air and the American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning System. It's built to a higher standard. It's the most trusted. And let me tell you something, as it's going to save you some money. When they put this unit in my home, I saw an immediate reduction of my energy bills. And it's not just a small portion. It's something that you can see every month. Two reasons: the efficiency of the unit and the programmable thermostat that makes it so easy. You won't forget to adjust your thermostat when you leave for work or when you're coming home. You can always have the optimum settings, and that's going to save you money every month.
You're exactly right about that, Hanny. And as we talked about yesterday, you do not want to have air condition problems in South Louisiana during the summer, and you're not going to get those from Tiger Air. Ask about the Comfort Assurance Protection Plan for your air conditioning and heating equipment. Seasonal maintenance, discounts on parts and labor, and priority service are included. You can find that at tiger-air.com. And remember, quotes are always free. Pick up the phone. Give them a call today at 225-754-8687. That's Tiger Air, bringing you Hanging with Hester and Hanny every day.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of OSSIE Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of OSSIE Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
Get an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital.
It's a Tuesday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. The guys are live at Doe's Eat Place from 6 to 8 p.m. Come say hello and eat some of their delicious steak, or listen here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny and Hunt here on a Tuesday afternoon. Joining us now, Chris Doring from the SEC Network. 1 second. I'm sorry.
Knowing CD, he's probably pushing up about 50 push-ups right now. He's trying to get his flex on, probably doing some curls, some barbells in his office.
And he's with us now. Chris, good afternoon.
Hey, what's up? You guys trying to fill time while they came and sought me out? I hear Hester's making jokes and stuff.
Yeah, they were trying to get you, but I was like, he's probably on the phone, but he's doing some sort of a push-up. I know you've got a barbell in your office where you're doing some curls.
Today was a large upper body day for me,
See?
man. Heavy wet, big sets. Actually, I did that this morning, knocked that out about 8:15. So I'm blowed out at this point, man.
Okay.
Chris, on Sunday and into the early part of Monday, when the reports came out that the Big Ten and maybe the Pac-12 were going to opt out of their seasons, what do you think the reaction was in the SEC offices? Because they had just rolled out their schedule on Friday, and by the time Greg Sankey responded to this on Monday, it was, hey, wait a second. We laid out a timeline. What are you guys doing jumping the gun here?
Well, it's not a surprise to anyone, right? I mean, they did that about a month ago when they announced ahead of everybody else that they were going to go alone with a conference-only schedule after having discussions with the rest of the Power 5 commissioners about that maybe being the best possible plan. I don't know what their sense of urgency was, why they made that call when they did before everybody else in regards to the schedule. And I don't know why they started to leak rumors that they were going to call the season ahead of everybody else at this point in time. I'm really proud of the job that Greg Sankey has done and the leadership that he's provided for our conference. I think pushing the start date back to September 26th was the best thing they could have done to buy some more time and also allow the SEC to kind of see how things were playing out with the NFL. You know, it's great that the NBA is doing what they're doing and Major League Baseball is doing what they're doing, but nothing can replicate the closeness of playing football other than playing football and being in training camp and playing games. And so with the added time, that allowed the SEC officials to be able to gauge what the NFL was doing and how they were doing it and the success they were having being able to do it. So I like the plan. I don't know what the Big Ten is doing other than trying to show their morals to somebody else and trying to emulate the Ivy League. Outside of that, you know, I think even their own athletic directors, their own coaches, and certainly their own players are disappointed with the leadership they have in that conference.
CD, we talked about it on Monday morning. The "we want to play" movement from the players has given them a voice that they've never really had in the past. And you and I talked about when we played in the SEC, we didn't have a platform. There was no platform to let your voice be heard. How much of that do you think has delayed these decisions? Because it truly felt like on Saturday at some point you were going to get at least 2 Power 5 conferences cancel or delay their football season until you started to see Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Jamar Chase, and guys like that step out and lend their voice and say, hey, we want to play, we're here to play.
Well, I'm really glad that they did. I'm glad that all of these players, I'm glad that Trevor Lawrence did. I mean, he's the guy that of everybody needs to play the least, right? I mean, we all know he's going to be the first pick in the NFL draft next year, whether he plays or not. So I love the fact that these guys have been able to use their voices. How about a guy like Kylan Hill, who's been as instrumental as he was in the flag issue in Mississippi and what he was able to do to help get that decision made, using his voice about how he wants to stay on campus and how dangerous it is for him to go home, that he needs the structure, needs the access to the medical professionals that he has access to. Like, I love the counter-argument being made, and social media has given these players a voice that we didn't have, Hester, when we were playing back in the day. So it definitely has changed the dynamics. But let's not forget, a lot of what has happened in the last couple of days is the pendulum swinging the opposite direction from where the Pac-12 United folks came out and made statements threatening, hey, they thought they had too much leverage at that point in time. We're not going to play unless this, and this are done. And at that point in time, the demands that they were making, I think, people were calling their bluff a little bit on that. The revenue stuff was ridiculous. I do think they have the right to be able to play and practice in a protected environment where there's as much proactivity taken to fight the virus as much as they possibly can. But this idea of sitting out like you have all of that leverage, and I think some of the players got their bluff called, and now to hear kind of the other direction of, hey, we want to play regardless of what we have to do to play, where we have to go. Lorenzo Lingard, the running back from Florida, mentioned that he'd be happy to be in a bubble. I mean, the commitment that we're seeing from these players, not only in what they're saying, but also their actions. Because remember, back in June when everybody first got back on campus, there were outbreaks everywhere. Clemson had, 37, 38 positive tests. I know you guys had a bunch. Alabama had a bunch. We had some down here in Florida. Like, these numbers have gone down precipitously to a point where they've been either severely mitigated or completely eliminated. And I think that speaks to the protocols that these schools have taken, but I also think it speaks to how seriously these players have taken their responsibility and given themselves a chance to play football this year.
And you're exactly right, talking about the players being back home. They've been home in April. They were home in May. They were home in June. This is something that we've talked about, and having the structure and being part of a team, that keeps you out of a lot of things. And I think that's one of the parts that's kind of getting lost in this deal. And I know there's some media out there that says, well, who says they have to go home if there's not a college football season? They're still students. They should be going to class. And we don't know what class is going to look like, one. And you and I have talked about this before. Guys who are trying to, get ready for the draft, have NFL aspirations, well, they're probably going to go home. And so they've seen the other side. They've seen what home looks like, and they've also seen what these college programs have created with their bubbles within their facilities, and they have said this feels like the most safe place to be. And you're also starting to hear coaches finally come out, even from without our, Ryan Day, Jim Harbaugh, Scott Frost. And so you're starting to hear the coaches as well, but these players and the coaches know what home looks like, and they know that the safest place for them to be is at the facility right now.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that back in March and April when everybody was sent home, and not only the protocols that they have in place now on campus, but the nutrition that they get, the access to the medical care that they have, the people being in the same world that are committed to the same goals and living their lives a little differently than what the general population. I mean, all of those things are true, and I think it was a great counter argument. Now, you also mentioned the coaches, and particularly the coaches in the Big Ten. It was not just Ryan Day and Jim Harbaugh, but you saw Scott Frost come out. You saw, a bunch of different other ones in that conference speaking up, James Franklin, about wanting to play this year and how the environment that they've created is best for their players. You know what that shows me is that these presidents of the Big Ten have completely negated and haven't even had conversations with the coaches themselves. They probably don't even know what's going on down there in the locker rooms and in the weight rooms and everything else. They're making decisions based upon liability as opposed to facts, and the fact that there hasn't been any conversations with the people that have the boots on the ground is a little disappointing to me.
Chris Doing here, hanging with Hester and Hanny. Chris, let's switch to the field. We saw 2 games added to every Southeastern Conference team schedule back on Friday. Kind of your biggest takeaway when you saw that?
Well, I wish I would have had a little more time to digest it before we went on the air. It was one of those things where, I was so excited to have the actual the schedule in advance that I was burning a hole in my pocket. I told Hester I wanted to reach out and tell him all the answers before we went on the air on 6 o'clock Eastern time on Friday night. But in going back, I got blistered. Dari got blistered on social media for not acknowledging just how difficult the Arkansas schedule is. And that might be the most difficult schedule of all time in hindsight. I wish I really would have had a chance to further process their existing schedule. I know they added Florida and Georgia, so they got the two top teams perceived in the East heading into the season. They already had Alabama, LSU, Auburn on that schedule from the West, and so it's going to be extremely challenging for them. Missouri has a similar test with the four top teams that we think are going to be heading into the season. I also look at, I had this conversation with Hester the other day on our show. It came down to me the easiest, most manageable schedule came down between LSU and Texas A&M. And I really believe that LSU, just by having Vanderbilt on the other side, and I think it came down to Texas A&M and LSU having just that South Carolina-Tennessee game differently, and I think Tennessee is going to be a tougher draw for A&M. So I know Tiger fans there in Baton Rouge are excited about the unveiling of those two new opponents, and it certainly sets up well. Not that any of them are easy. I mean, let's be honest. Every schedule we look at is extremely challenging. We know what the toll that playing SEC teams week to week is going to take. But I think of the lesser of all evils, I would take that LSU schedule over a lot of the other ones in the SEC this year.
Chris Doering is our guest. Chris, true or false that when the dust settles on this thing, whether the decision is to play, delay, or cancel, the SEC and the ACC will vote together no matter what?
I hope so. I think there's strength in numbers. That was what was a little surprising to me a couple weeks back, is when the ACC came out and said they were going to play a 10-game conference-only schedule plus one out-of-conference game. I thought that would be exactly in line with what the SEC was going to do, particularly because of the 4 rivalry games that exist now with in-state opponents from the ACC. But it seemed like they chose to go their own way. I do hope that there is conversations and collaboration between the ACC and the SEC, and I know we bang on the ACC quite a bit, but I was excited to hear the news yesterday out of their camp that they were intent on playing this season as well. So hopefully those two conferences will stay together and make decisions together, and if not, then I have every confidence in the world that Greg Sankey is going to do what's best for these athletes and for these schools and for the fans in our conference.
I want to ask you this, CD. The ACC did add that extra conference game. We know the SEC did not. They went conference only. And even now, some of the ACC schools' opponents like Ohio and the MAC's not playing football. Do you think the ACC at the end of the day will kind of just say, you know what, we're going conference only and we're not going to have that +1?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the best thing to do. Remember, they made it extra restrictive by saying that those games had to be played within the home state of the ACC team. So I think that limits the options even more. I love down here in our state, the governor's grandstanding to the fans about how he's going to make the FSU Florida game happen, and Greg Sankey's secretly laughing behind the scenes. Like, I don't think it's going to be possible for the ACC to play anybody else. I think at the end of the day, I like that they left that option out there. But at this point, I think it's just about getting games you can, and it's much more manageable within your own conference.
Chris, we appreciate the time. We'll see what happens, and we'll look forward to talking with you next week.
That sounds good. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Chris Doering from the SEC Network. First class, second class, no class when we return. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you every single day by our title sponsor, Richards Honda. Of course, you can find them online at richardshonda.com. There you can find a lot of things. The warm, fuzzy promise right there on the homepage. Of course, you can check out their specials. You can order parts and accessories. You can schedule service right there on the website. And I tell you, every single day, if you've got a question, they can answer that as well with the little conversation in the bottom right corner. But we would encourage you, go see them at 13413 Millaville Greens Boulevard in Baton Rouge. It's I-12 and Millaville, because they have over 700 new and pre-owned vehicles. And no matter what you need, no matter what your lifestyle calls for, if you're looking for hybrids, they have the Accord Hybrid, the Clarity Plug-in Hybrid, the Insight. They just added the CRV Hybrid, which is their midsize SUV. Speaking of midsize SUVs, they've got you covered there with the CRV, the HRV, and the Passport. The full-size SUV Honda Pilot, which seats 8, the Odyssey minivan, the Ridgeline truck. Don't forget about the Accord, the Civic, and the Fit if you're looking for a car. So no matter what your needs are, they're going to make sure that they are met over at Richards Honda. That's why they're home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who do.
Coming up on Wednesday's Off the Bench, what happened on College Football Decision Day 2020 and how does it affect your LSU Tigers? Plus, did the Pelicans beat the Kings? You don't care. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. First class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
That no man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
My life had become like school on Sunday. No class.
I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, and no class, brought to you by Relief Telemed. Relief is for businesses with frequent interactions with the public. Restaurants, retail stores, service-based businesses, businesses that cannot afford to shut down or send home employees, like college football. Relief's COVID mitigation program takes the hassle, chaos, and stress out of having your employees tested for COVID. Process starts with a video visit with a physician and ends with a custom action plan for everyone. And through a dashboard, you know exactly where your employees can come back to, when your employees can come back to work.
They offer on-site and off-site testing options, have the option to get COVID results in as little as 24 hours. Relief is the market leader for rapid response COVID testing. Be on site within 24 hours and have your business operational in 48. Don't forget also your high school athletic team as well. You can call them direct line 225-244-6093. Always check them out online, relieftelemed.com/stopthespread.
All right, breaking news. This is Bruce Feldman's got this. Matt Hayes has got this. Everybody's pretty much got this. The Big Ten has voted to postpone the 2020 college football season with hopes of playing in the spring.
Yeah. Nicole Auerbach is, our Big Ten person, and she says that they're still in the meeting, but it's not sounding good. So I mean, this is every source that we rely on, all the trusted sources, and so not a surprise. The spring part's probably the biggest surprise of it.
I think that they're saying, hey, listen, we're going to try this. I don't think they're saying we can definitely do that. We don't know what it's going to look like on Friday, much less what it's going to look like in the spring. So, all right, there's your first Power 5 conference. My guess is that they got into this meeting and they said, okay, who's our lead guy? Who's our lead medical advisor on myocarditis? Can you guarantee us, or can you give us some assurances that COVID doesn't trigger this and that this is not going to be widespread? And if we have heart damage in our student athletes, which they have, I think, was it 5 or 6 so far, have come up with symptoms of this. And my guess is the experts said no. And if you have this liability and somebody gets this and somebody has a heart attack and somebody dies, you're liable. And that was pretty much the end of the story. That's what if I had to guess, that's what I think happened.
I think you're exactly right, because this is the what happened between schedule release and what we started to hear over the weekend. So this is going to be, no question, a developing story and something we're going to follow throughout the rest of the show and the days to come, the weeks to come, the months to come, potentially.
Somebody's got to find a vaccine for this thing. That's my take.
All right, let's do a little first class, second class, no class, and then obviously we'll react to the first class. For me, is the SEC and Greg Sankey and the way they've handled everything. I think that they did the right thing when they initially released the schedule and having it in late September. They are not following suit with other conferences. Now, that's not to say that they're guaranteed to play, but they are taking their time. They are trying everything they can to gain as much information as they can. They're looking at all the numbers. They're listening to their players. They're listening to their coaches. They're listening to the team physicians and everyone around these programs. And they are taking their time, and they have shown great leadership in what they have done so far to this point. So I know that there is, a lot of people in Baton Rouge that have given Commissioner Sankey a very hard time. But during this pandemic and during this time, I think the SEC office has shown great leadership.
Got another theme this week. I'll start with my first class. In 13 games this year, Jacoby Jones with the Detroit Tigers is leading the majors in OPS. He's got a 1177 OPS. For those who prefer older statistics, he's batting .333. He's hit 5 home runs. He's kind of figured it out. That's a guy who's had tools since the day he showed up here in Baton Rouge, and at times hasn't put it all together, but he's doing it right now. First class for Jacoby Jones, best in baseball with OPS.
I want to echo what you said about Sankey, because like I said, I've been critical of him in the past. I think he's done a great job. Can I give it to Playboy Marty's Phoenix Suns? 6-0 in the bubble. I mean, the one team, one of the teams that they were saying, do we really need to invite all these teams? Well, yeah, we got to get Zion in the bubble, so we got to invite all these teams. And Phoenix we put themselves in position. Now, they've still got an uphill battle. They still need a lot of stuff to happen. But 6-0 in the bubble, Devin Booker, pretty good. First class, Phoenix Suns.
Look at there. I had it as my second class. Phoenix Suns, 6-0. They absolutely destroy Oklahoma City Thunder, 128-101. Coach Monty Williams, who a lot of Pelican fans will recognize that name, has done a fantastic job in the bubble, keeping it a one-game-at-a-time approach. I think that model and the system of kind of the AAU style, the bubble style, fits a young basketball team like the Suns. I have to apologize again because I was laughing at Playboy Marty just the other day, and now they are 6-0. So you got a first class and a second class, Playboy Marty. Congratulations.
Oh, appreciate it.
My second class is the brothers Nola. Close your ears there, Jacob. Aaron was the first pitcher for the Phillies to post a start with more than 8 innings pitched, 2 or fewer hits, and 10-plus strikeouts since Cole Hamels in 2015. And Big Bro Austin finding his way in his second year with the Mariners. He's hitting .308 through a few weeks of the season, playing a good first base. So the brothers Nola doing a really good job up there in Major League Baseball.
My second class to the ACC. Long a punching bag for the SEC. They have done their due diligence, and they have worked hard to work through this. If you'd asked most people 6 months ago, say, well, the ACC more likely to align with the SEC or more likely to align with the Big Ten, not sure you would have gotten I'm not sure you would have gotten a vote in the favor of the SEC. I like what the ACC is doing. They are trying. They are at least trying.
All right, so my no class is Saturday and Sunday's Twitter. Saturday and Sunday Twitter.
That thing that you were glued to?
Was a hot mess. There was sources and this, that, and the other. Everyone was disagreeing. There was no certainty to what was being put out there, and I'm talking about everyone with blue check marks, all of us, right? Saturday and Sunday Twitter was not a great place, and there was a lot of doomsday scenarios, and I realized that some of those are going to play out, but it was just not a fun place. It was a dark place. I missed some great golf because of it, and so for that reason, they're my no class.
I'm not here to tell you that crappy baseball players became all-stars and world champions because they were banging trash cans, but through 3 weeks of Major League Baseball, I'm looking at batting averages. I've got Jose Altuve at 183. I've got George Springer at 182. And I've got Alex Bregman at 224. Not great. No class.
150 to go. Pelicans Spurs. 5-point deficit.
I know where you're going.
And the plan is to have a player that was 1 for 8, 0 for 3 from the field, take a 3-point shot on a step back. Alvin Gentry, that was not a good plan. Lonzo Ball, that was not a good shot. Pelicans are headed home at the end of the week. Pete Futek from College Football News. When we come back, this is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of OSSIE Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of OSSIE Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Hey, T-Bob, sports wouldn't be the same without the die-hard fans, so we're highlighting the fans that do it the most.
Every week, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge brings you the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week. Check it out, 1045ESPN.com.
It's the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hour number 3, whether you're listening to us on 104.5 ESPN or 1130 The Tiger in Shreveport, watching us on CST on our YouTube page, 104.5 ESPN, thank you for joining us today. The news coming out just a few minutes ago that the Big Ten will cancel the fall football season. They hope to play in the spring. We are awaiting a press conference or the official announcement that is due any second now. Joining us from collegefootballnews.com, Pete Futek, who wrote a really interesting piece this morning about the percentage chances of leagues being able to play. Pete, now that you've first of all, thank you for joining us. And now that you've heard the news of the Big Ten, first of all, did it surprise you, and what do you think happens next?
Not at all surprised. The only thing I thought would be different would be that they would kick the can down the road a little further. Because the one difference between the Big Ten so far and all the other conferences is that it was scheduled to start up in the first week of September as opposed to the last week of September, which is what everyone else is sort of planning for. So, as Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, has been doing all throughout, just been saying, look, every day brings something else new. Like, the more time we have, the better. And so it seemed like they were going to say, all right, let's just wait a few more weeks, and let's see what else happens when students get back on campus. But really, at the end of the day, whoever the medical advisors are for the Big Ten, I think that just got, the president, heard them and were like, nah, we just really can't do this. So, look, it's probably the safe thing. It's probably the right thing. But it's the college presidents who are doing this. It's not the players. It's not on the coaches. It's on the medical advisors. And it's on the presidents whose job it is to run the whole university as a whole. And if they're seeing it this way, then all right, let's see what happens in spring, even though I don't think that'll happen. Or let's see what happens going forward.
Yeah, that was going to be my question, Pete. The realistic chance of having a spring football season. And there's 10 things we could lay out to make it difficult to have a spring season. And one of the things would be, would you be the only Power 5 playing? What about the NFL draft? I mean, there's so many ways we can go about this. So what do you think the realistic chances of having that spring season would be? Because we both know you wouldn't have your star players.
You can't say that you're not having a fall season because you're concerned about player safety and then play 2 college football seasons in 10 months. Because, look, I grew up in Minneapolis. I live in Chicago. We went to school in Madison. Who wants to play college football on February 10th in, these cities?
Right.
There's nothing fun about that. And, what do? You're going to play February, March, April, maybe part of May. You're in championships at the end of May, and then take 2.5 months off and then play again. What happens if a kid gets hurt, in mid-March and loses 2 seasons? There's a whole bunch of logistical problems with this. My guess is they are just saying, yeah, we're going to play in spring just to kind of make it seem a little more palatable that we're not getting Big Ten college football this fall. I will be shocked if it happens. I think that this goes on until the fall of 2021.
Pete Futek is our guest, collegefootballnews.com. In the lead up to this announcement, which is being held right now, as I understand it, there was rumors of a vote that had gone down. It did not include a yes vote from Iowa or Nebraska. Scott Frost was pretty vocal yesterday that the Huskers were going to go try to find somebody somewhere to play. Is that just a coach saber rattling, or do you think they're serious?
Yeah, coaches aren't policymakers. All college coaches are going to, say that they want to coach college football because that's what they do. Look, coaches are master class salesmen and motivators. They're going to go out there and say all the right things, and it's going to make it sound right. And of course, they're going to try. Look, not a chance that Ohio State or Nebraska or Michigan ends up playing like in a Big 12 or something like that. That just, first of all, you can't contractually do that with all the TV deals and other licensing things going on. But also, there's not a chance the Big Ten would let them do that. Now, can they find a couple games here and there for non-conference? Okay, but why are you doing that? I mean, what's really the point if you're not really generating any real revenue off it? Maybe you'll make some TV money, but it's not enough. I don't think that'll be a really good look. But look, I really feel this whole process trying to stay as politically out of it as possible. But look what's happening. Look, who voted no? The red states in the Big Ten, Nebraska and Iowa, were the no votes because that's the kind of more politically palatable stance for where the states are in terms of guidelines and things. Ohio is a little, kind of right in the middle there, a little bit more red, but it is, it's got a bigger overall population. And then the rest of the conference is pretty blue with, different sets of standards and guidelines and political whims. So that's a part of it in all this, because who's hammering on the Big Ten presidents for the most part? It really is kind of reflective of how the society as a whole is going right now.
Pete, I want to ask you about the potential transfers you would have in the Big Ten. And I know this is fresh. It just happened. But say that the SEC and ACC and Big 12 do have a season. Could you potentially see where we'd see transfers from the Big Ten to these other conferences? And what do you think the NCAA would do about that as far as waivers?
Yeah, I'll give my credit to my friend Matt Hayes, who tweeted this out and beat me to the punch here. It was like, how about LSU getting another Ohio State quarterback? How about Justin Fields going to the Tigers? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to think that these guys are going to go transfer. I kind of think that now that the season is canceled and everyone gets to take a deep breath, it's one thing to go through all the hard work if you're a Justin Fields or you're a top 15 or first top 50 caliber NFL draft pick, all the work with your teammates and everything for the school and everything you fought for. But for Justin Fields to transfer now, I don't know if that really, what are you doing? Why, you're already a top 5 overall pick, if not maybe number 1 overall. I don't think guys like that are going to necessarily mess with it as much as we think they might. But everyone else, yeah, if you want to get a season in, you're not going to bank on the spring season. You're absolutely going to try to look into transfer.
Pete, the SEC and the ACC are pretty adamant that they're going to wait this thing out, so that leaves us the Pac-12 and the Big 12. Do you think that it's inevitable the Pac-12 follows the Big Ten here? And as far as the Big 12, they seem to be the most on-the-fence league about this. What do you think their next move is?
Yeah, the Pac-12, I'm shocked, wasn't first on this. They were, months ago, they seemed like they were going to be out because just of the sheer logistics, again, of, look at their situations in terms of governance. I mean, you can't right now, you can't, there's no place for the LA players to practice. There's no place to, come together. You can't have galleries. You can't do the basics that it takes to play college football. And look, Arizona is as hot a spot as there is in the world. I mean, it's just logistically hard for the Pac-12. I would not be stunned if we don't hear in the next several minutes that the Pac-12 has decided, we can't do this either. ACC, they seem like that. There's the big story. It is the ACC medical advisor said, go ahead, do this. So the ACC is going to be like, okay, we're going to give this at least, for now, give us a shot. Same with the SEC. Again, Greg Sankey's been really soberly cautious about this, and he's been able to temper the crazy situation when it always is with the SEC and say, look, we're going to go by the medical guidance here. But again, those conferences have time. They don't have to make their decision now. They can wait a couple more weeks. I know there's practices. I know there's parts of this. But I think they're just going to kind of wait a little while and see what else they can kind of learn and see what they can decide that they can do. The Big 12, they're on the fence, but Oklahoma and Texas are fine with this. They, if those two schools are saying, yeah, we want in, we want to have a college football season, they kind of rule the Big 12 roost. So I think as long as those two schools are saying that they want to give it a go, and Texas is saying they've got the protocols that they want to use and they feel comfortable with it, and Oklahoma's been really sharp in terms of keeping everyone sort of as locked down as possible and testing and making sure everyone's isolated when needed and safe when needed. If those two can go, I think the Big 12 is going to give it a shot.
Pete, one of the things that came to my mind when I saw the news seconds ago about the Big Ten was, okay, well, Ohio State and Michigan and some of the other schools, they can withstand not having a football season potentially for a year. I mean, they've got some in the reserves. They're big powerhouse football programs, but then you start to think of the Rutgers and Maryland and teams like that and how much they could truly struggle and how much they have in their reserves. And could you possibly see maybe the Big Ten step in and try to help them out and just stay afloat long enough until football is actually played?
Depends on what they're staying afloat for. And this is where it's my most unpopular take possible, but as a staunch anti-non-revenue sportite, understand college football is fine. College basketball, men's and women's are fine. Most of the, there are sports, both on both genders that do generate revenue and can sustain themselves. But a lot of the non-revenue sports is what's going to get in big trouble here. And those are the ones that are going to get crushed. But still, we're talking about college football for the season. I know the model sort of needs to be changed when, hey, you lost 7 home games and all of a sudden your entire athletic department crumbles. It kind of shows there's something wrong with this. But they're not saying there's not going to be college basketball, so that's the next focus. They're not saying there's not going to be winter sports, which are really going to kick in faster than we think. So I think at the moment they shut down football. The president said, look, the advisors are telling us no, we're going to go by the medical advice and do that. And then they're going to figure out winter sports and try to make it up from there. But understand, look, if you're the Mountain West or the MAC or UConn or UMass, yeah, do whatever you got to do. They're the ones in trouble. If you need to play in the spring, go play in the spring. Go do what you have to do to keep your athletic departments alive. But the biggest of schools and the big conferences, they should be okay. And at least for the main sports. The non-revenue sports are going to be the ones that really get hit.
Pete Futek from collegefootballnews.com. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us. I know it's going to be a busy afternoon for you, so we appreciate your time.
Anytime, guys. You have a good one.
Thanks, Pete. You too.
This is a post out of the Bayou Ford Huddle. It says, this is from Nook. He says, the pressure on the SEC to fold is going to be enormous. The quote's going to be, look at the Big Ten. They actually care about their players. Can you imagine the pressure? When they do this press conference, which I think they're supposed to be doing right now, they're going to give you a reason. They're going to give you a reason that is backed up. I mean, they haven't been in that meeting for 4 hours, playing dominoes. They're going to come out, if they're smart, and I think there's a lot of smart people in that room, they're going to come out with a statement from a medical professional that says, we can't do this. And that statement is going to be waved in front of anybody that says you should be playing college football at any cost, doesn't matter. Here's what our medical professional says. This isn't safe for our kids. We're shutting it down, even though the costs of this are enormous because it's not worth the cost of losing even one kid. And that statement's going to be held up to every commissioner and every athletic director and every president in every other league. And that's going to be hard to refute. The ACC doctor today, the guy at Duke is going to have to come back. They're going to have to come back, and they're going to have a good, solid reason. We know medical professionals disagree all the time. Legal people disagree all the time. They're going to have to come back and tell their story better, because that's a statement that they're going to have to refute.
Something we haven't discussed is, if a player who goes home or whatever, and then if they, unfortunately,
could happen,
get the disease.
That was the argument of a number of the coaches yesterday, including Ed Ogeron, which is, we can do a better job of keeping them here. So then the next thing is, it's going to be, well, do that. Keep them there. Let them go to school. Give them all of these things. Just don't play football. And that's fine for a very short period of time, because at some point, somebody's got to pay for all this. Okay. The reason that they have all of these facilities and all of these things is because the department generates what it does.
You can deal with some mental health issues as well.
All that
from this.
We already are, man.
Yeah.
We already are. Hunt, feed us.
Hungry Howie's bringing you Hanging with Hester and Hanny and Hunt Tuesday and Thursday. We appreciate them telling you about the awesome specials they've got going on right now. 3 medium, 1-topping pizzas for just $15. That's $5 a pizza. And if you carry out, you can get a large 2-topping pizza for just $7.99. Of course, all those come with that delicious flavored crust that is baked in the store every single day. And if you're looking for a great part-time job, looking for something to do, delivery drivers for Hungry Howie's make $15 to $25 an hour. If you don't have a car, no big deal. Hungry Howie's has some e-bikes that you can ride around and deliver some pizzas to make some extra cash. We appreciate Hungry Howie's. Download the app. Make them a part of your evening this evening. HungryHowie's.com. Bringing you Hanging with Hester and Hanny and Hunt Tuesday and Thursday.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mahente.
What happens? Anybody can tell you what happened. What does it mean? Less people can do that. But we're going to focus on what happens next.
Mornings, 5 to 7, starting Monday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Conference presidents across the Power 5 are set to meet. We'll have all the recap and reaction Tuesday. Join us 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're also brought to you today by our friends over at Supreme Rice. Not all rice is created equal. Supreme Rice out of Crowley, Louisiana since the 1930s. Support Louisiana farmers. All of that rice is grown, milled, and processed right here in South Louisiana, whether it's the long grain or the brown or the jasmine. Supreme Rice, a perfect complement to anything. We got a new big bag of the jasmine rice we did at etouffee this past weekend. But whether it's red beans and rice or an etouffee or gumbo or any of the great dishes that you can get at supremerice.com, where there's some unique recipes that you can choose from. It's easy to get Supreme Rice. You get all your Costco's, all your Rouse's, all of your Walmarts, plus all of your AG food dealers. Support Louisiana farmers with Supreme Rice. For great recipes and more information, go to supremerice.com. The news coming down within the last half hour. The Big Ten has pulled the plug on the fall football season. We are waiting. The Pac-12 representatives are I think they're on a call. I don't think they're in an in-person meeting, but we do expect that we will hear from them not terribly long. And yes, I don't know how you feel, but I'm going to be shocked if they do anything but follow the Big Ten's lead here.
I think that's kind of been the thought all along, and they did it with the schedule. I assume they'll do it. I mean, today. Today, tomorrow. I think it's coming pretty soon, and we're going to have Ryan Leaf on, of course, played in the Pac-12 during his college career, has covered the conference as well. I'm going to ask his opinions, and I'm sure he's going to say that he expects them to do the same. And so the fallout of this is really going to be something to watch and what happens. And I know a lot of people looking on Twitter right now don't even expect the Big Ten to play in the spring. That was their delay that they talked about. And so this thing's not over, even within the conferences that have canceled. And by the way, a couple sources on Twitter as well, the SEC and the ACC plan to stay strong.
Shannon Terry, who is the head of 247 and who invented Rivals, and he's guy's been in the game a while, posted this. He says, I'm hearing the ACC and SEC are going to stand strong and take the bullets at least for a while. Based on today's conversations, I'm not convinced the Big Ten will be the domino catalyst for the ACC and SEC. That's Shannon Terry's tweet. We expect the Pac-12 to follow suit. The SEC and the ACC seem more linked than at any time in either conference's history in any sport. I don't know what the Big 12 is going to do. Greg Sankey made it clear this morning that the SEC is not going to just go this alone, that they are not going to stand by themselves, play their 10-game schedule, their conference championship game, and then that will be it. Also, that the league is not interested in adding a team or two for the season. So if you're thinking, well, just take Oklahoma and Texas from the Big 12, add them to the SEC, and everybody else can go fly a kite, the commissioner indicated that that's not really an issue, not really an option, and I can understand why. I think that the SEC and ACC are going to hold out, but I think it's going to be almost impossible for them to hold up long term. They're going to have a medical professional that is employed by them, not even is employed by them, that is seen as independent thinking enough that they're going to give you an independent opinion that's going to refute whatever the Big Ten comes out with. We heard from Dr. Cameron Wolfe earlier today. This is Duke's infectious disease specialist. This is the head of the ACC Medical Advisory Group. Cameron Wolfe comes out and says, hey, he's like, you remember that remember that scene in My Cousin Vinny where the DA gets up and he makes this long soliloquy, this wonderful thing, and then Joe Pesci gets up and Everything that guy just said is BS, okay? That's almost, I'm trying to be a little bit funny. That's what Cameron Wolf or somebody out of the SEC or the ACC is going to say. Hey, everything that guy's saying is BS.
Something to pay attention to if you're wondering where the SEC's mindset is watch for a potential schedule release, right? They mentioned that they have created this window where they have some time, and let's see if they stay on schedule, because it was announced on Friday after we saw the two teams that a schedule would be coming this week. And that's not to say it's not a guarantee by any means, Hanny, but if they release that on Thursday or they release it on Friday and they stay on schedule, still saying, hey, yes, we realize what's happening elsewhere, but we're staying on schedule. So here's our schedule if we do have, in fact, have the ability to play this fall. So that's something very important to watch to see where their mindset is. And, you know, like Shannon Terry mentioned, how many bullets are you going to catch? Well, a lot. You're going to catch a lot if you're the SEC and the ACC right now. But if you say, you know what, I don't care. I'm only worried right now about our 14 institutions and what I feel like is best for them, then you continue to take those bullets and you continue to move forward. It's going to be very difficult. I agree with you. It's going to be, you're going to have a lot of people, you know, like the old Game of Thrones, shame, right? You're going to have a lot of that. But if you don't care about that and you're like, I know what we've done. I know what we've put in place. It's working. And I also know what can happen if everyone goes back home or something, you know, something else happens. Like, we've got all these protocols in place. You know, Commissioner Sankey over the summer mentioned, look, we've got like 27, 28, 29 protocols in place. And so we're ready to take action and move how we have to move. So I think a big tell this week will be what happens with the schedule. Not about, you know, when the games are. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about for them to continue to stay on schedule to get ready for the season.
The Twitter mob is dying to tell you, I told you so, one way or the other. Whatever side of this you have put yourself on, the Twitter mob is ready to, if you play and somebody gets sick and God forbid somebody passes away, then the Twitter mob is there to tell you, we told you not to play. And if they shut it all down and send everybody home and one of these kids gets COVID and God forbid something happens and they pass away because they weren't in the protections of the university system where they would have been if they'd have been playing, then the Twitter mob on the other side is ready to say, we told you so. And I gotta wonder how much stock they put into that when they think about this as the court of public opinion, because the court of public opinion is so much louder now than it was before because of social media. I got to think that Greg Sankey and John Swofford knew that this was a possibility, that this could happen today. It's not like we didn't know the meeting was coming. We knew that this was a possibility. We thought that the momentum had swung a little bit yesterday, that the more likely scenario today was that they would delay and not cancel. Well, missed out on that, all right? But didn't move the needle enough. Harbaugh's letter, Day's tweet, Frost's press conference, they made for good talk, didn't move the needle enough. Pac-12 probably not going to move the needle either. They knew that they might be sitting in this situation at the end of the day today, that there would be at least 2 of the 5 power conferences that were not going to be playing. If they didn't, shame on them. I believe that they did. So your point is good, that if you see that they are sticking to their schedule, then it means that you've got hope. But the pressure here is going to be overwhelming.
It will be, but if you believe in what you've put forth and you believe in your medical experts, there's a reason they're your medical experts and not someone else's, then you just have to say, you know what? I know I'm going to catch flack. I know there's going to be shots taken my way, but that's kind of the world we live in now.
It is, and that's why I brought up the Twitter mob mentality, okay? There's the exceptions to this. We agree that nobody knows for sure. We don't have long-range data on this virus. We don't know for sure what's going to happen. We agree on that, right? Okay. And we also agree that if something happens to one of these kids, that it's going to be a terrible, tragic story. And if it happens while they're in the confines of the university system and they are in the confines of a football game or a football program, that it's going to be the shame. But it works the other way too, because if they cancel all this and some kid goes home, goes to, you know, nowhere Louisiana or nowhere Texas and gets this and dies, then it's going to be the other way. It's going to be, why didn't you try to fight harder and keep my kid where he would have been safe? No, you sent him home because you were scared. you want to talk about between the devil and the deep blue sea.
Yeah.
I don't want this job, man. I don't want this job today. They're in a hell of a fix. Take a break. Come back. Ryan Leaf will be with us. We'll get his thoughts on what's going on in the Pac-12, which could come down at any moment. This is Hangin with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny.
GMFS Mortgage, gmfsmortgage.com. Right now, interest rates at historic lows. So it gives you some options. If you want to be in the market for a new home, you're going to have more purchasing power maybe than you have ever had. If you're in the market for a refi, the ability to change your long-term budget plans, to have a lower house note every month, to have the ability to skip a mortgage payment or two, to free up some much-needed cash right now. Maybe a construction loan is what you need. You like your location. You like your house. You're adding to your family. It's time to add on to your home. GMFS Mortgage can help. GMFSmortgage.com is where you start your journey, and you'll meet with a local counselor. They'll ask you some questions, they'll get some information, and then they'll lay out all of the options for you. There won't be any surprises, and they'll walk you from there all the way through to the closing. It can change your life. It will change your monthly budget. So do what I did and do what thousands of others have done, and get your financial journey started today at GMFSmortgage.com.
Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube page. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat. Find highlights for each show's channel and get notified whenever we go live.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of OSSIE Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of OSSIE Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Hey, T-Bob, sports wouldn't be the same without the die-hard fans, so we're highlighting the fans that do it the most.
Every week, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge brings you the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week. Check it out, 104.5ESPN.com.
It's the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
It's a Tuesday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. The guys are live at Doe's Eat Place from 6 to 8 p.m. Come say hello and eat some of their delicious steak, or listen here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Joining us now is Ryan Leaf, who, of course, played his college football in the Pac-12 at Washington State. Ryan, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, guys.
And thanks for joining us today. I bring that up because, of course, because the Pac-12 is the next decision that we're waiting on this meeting. Now that the Big Ten has decided to cancel their fall football season in the hopes of playing in the spring, is it inevitable that the Pac-12 will follow suit?
Well, it's not inevitable, but, I think that there is a bit of a domino effect here. You watched him in the NCAA tournament in the spring was starting to get going, and they had the conference tournaments. They kind of went this way. One fell off by the next, and before you knew it, only one conference was out there playing, and people are looking at them like, what are you doing? And so that could have an effect. Now, the ACC and the SEC got their medical advisors out front and were quoted today. They are going to move forward. I like their plan, right? The idea of their little bubble where they've brought everybody in, they've tested them, they're around the medical side of things. It's great. It's worked. Let's just keep that going. There's no reason to cancel anything completely right now. Let's just keep seeing how this goes. See what campus looks like when kids show up. What does that data look like? Because those are things we just don't know. And the strangest thing about this whole pandemic is we haven't been told anything, and we keep guessing and we hear misinformation. We don't know what the long-term effects are. We don't know what a healthy athlete or an extraneous athlete who contracts the disease looks like, what that looks like, and those are unknowns that presidents of universities aren't willing to live with.
Ryan, what are the challenges, in your opinion, in playing a spring season, for the Big Ten? Because we've talked about them, and look, you and I both went through the pre-draft process in the NFL. We go, we work out, we get ready for the combine, we have the meetings, we have senior bowls, we have all of these things that lead up to the NFL draft. And so not only, is that going to be a challenge, but there's challenges as far as you already have sports on your campus that are scheduled to have the venues, the parking, and all those different things.
Yeah, we're in unprecedented times, clearly, this whole process. And so, there's different discussions that are going to have to be had. What about the freshman recruits? What if they show up early? Are those scholarships counted against? The NCAA is going to have to do a lot of work if things are postponed to the spring. And I have a real hard time believing that there really would be a full season of fall sports in the spring because of many different things. You talked about their health and well-being. That's why they're postponing it right now. But then you're telling me you're going to play a full season in the spring and then hurry up and play a full season in the fall again? That's not about the health and safety of these players either. They'll be exhausted. The players that want to be in the draft, who want to go to the next level, they'll most likely opt out because they have to prepare and get ready for the biggest job interview of their life, the combine and things like that. So it's we don't know anything. I think that's the best thing that we've been saying since about March 11th. I was at the pro day for Jalen Hurts covering it for ESPN, and I got on the plane and came back, and the world shut down pretty much, and we don't know what we don't know still. And if this helps in any way, let's say it shuts down sports and the idea of college sports, and we use the next 6 months to learn data. Can campuses be safe? Can players continue to stay within that little bubble of their facility and get tested, do the right thing, like they're redshirting this year? Can they stay safe and get a chance to play? Let's hope so.
Ryan, if you were still playing and you were at a school that sanctioned football in a year where a lot of other people didn't, if you were in one of the two conferences that played when everybody else wasn't, what would your thought process be about, exactly how your school was handling it?
Well, when you're a 21-year-old, and Jacob, you can attest to this, we feel bulletproof, right? We don't think anything's going to harm us. We're willing to go out and play against 300-pound defensive linemen and everything, and then go out afterwards after being beat the hell up and go party with everybody all night long. We don't fully understand what the ramifications and consequences are to our actual actions. And what I'd be doing is I'd be saying, hey, NCAA, give me a waiver. I'm going to go play. I don't know if I'll ever get to play in the pros. This is my last chance to play, or what's my eligibility issue here? I'm going to go play. Now, as a 44-year-old father, I'm like, easy answer, right? I care about humanity more. I care about my family, and I don't want to do anything that could jeopardize their health. And I'm a relatively healthy individual right now, and my biggest worry through this whole process has been, what if I infect somebody who has underlying past medical issues and they die because of their interaction with me? That is my biggest fear in all this. So we've stayed pretty closed up and buttoned up through this process, and I just want to know more. I need to know more, and I have the same kind of decision making right now when it comes to whether I put my son back into school starting this fall. You know, we're looking at a ton of options and talking to the medical and science experts in all of this, because I don't understand it. I just know that we've been able to stay healthy because we've been able to stay quarantined with one another, and that's been important.
And Ryan, and that's why I think the players right now are at their safest when they are at these football operations buildings, because they have so many more resources when they're inside this building, when they're able to not only see the doctor and get tested, but they have their dining hall that's right there with the facility that they know it's been professionally clean, and you're practicing safe social distancing and all those type of things. I think that's why it's been so important for these players to be back in their buildings, because we've seen what happens when you go back home in April and May, and we saw the numbers rise at Clemson and Alabama and other places.
I completely agree. The idea that, unless they go home, stay in the house with their families and quarantine essentially, I don't know a safer place than inside these facilities. And I have not heard anywhere, except maybe it's because the players don't know or even the coaches don't know, but I don't see any reason why, watching the Big Ten cancel their season, why the players would go home now. They're still going to go to school. They can do it virtually from inside the facility. They can still do the things they've been doing for the last 3 months or however long they've been on campus. They'll be getting tested. They'll be doing exactly the things you said, the social distancing, the medical, the nutrition. What will this look like? It will look like a redshirt season for them. If you remember, I don't know if you redshirted, Jacob. I did. And that was a very difficult year, right? You had to just practice and not play in games. You had to prepare. You had to watch film. You had to get bigger, stronger, faster. You had to start eating differently. You had to learn how to go to school on campus as well as being an athlete there. So that's how I think the mindset, if I'm a sports psychologist working with the Big Ten athletes, I'm going to talk to them about that. You need to look at this as a redshirt type of season, and that's how you're going to improve. You prepare for a game that ultimately will come at some point, because we're the greatest nation in the world. We're struggling with this COVID situation. We're going to figure it out. And at some point, if the college football bubble is burst because of one season of not playing football, then it was just a house of cards anyway, just propped up by poor mortgages like the 2008, housing crisis. So I don't believe that to be true. Is there going to be a setback? Are other sports going to be affected? We're going to get through this. Everything is going to be okay, but the best thing is the health and safety of these players. And I agree with you totally. Staying inside their facilities, their bubbles, is the safest place for them. The fact that they're not playing games is okay. Just continue to do this, and you'll develop a lot more data on how to be safe when they do decide to play.
Ryan Leaf is our guest here on Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Ryan, it's a point that you brought up about redshirting, and something that I haven't even really thought about, right? You said it was a very difficult year, and I think we've all seen red shirts that they want to play, and the coaches have to do, sometimes a little extra to make sure that they stay encouraged, they stay engaged, and they don't drift away too much. And so that's going to be the challenge for all these coaches if you don't have a fall season, and even if you play in the spring, but even if you miss an entire football season, they're going to have to make sure that they, watch for players' mental health and all these different parts of it, because they're going to have to stay engaged without playing games. And that's the hope, that you can keep them on campus. If you don't have games, you can still continue to have team activities, but you're going to have to make sure that you're checking on the guys and making sure that they don't drift away from you.
Exactly. And that's why them staying on campus and be a part of this fellowship and this team is the most important. Now, you can't force them to stay there. If they want to go home and virtually learn, that's up to them. But I believe each and every one of them want to play. The good thing about this is they'll all be in the same boat, right? From freshmen to seniors. They'll all be not playing in a season. It's hard when you're watching your new friends and teammates go off and play in these competitive games, yet you have to stand on the sidelines and not be part of it because you're not eligible to play. Now, of course, the changes over the last year or two with the 4-game redshirt rule has made that somewhat of a different conversation. But like in our day, you were out for the entire year and you had to develop that. And another thing about staying in this facility and being a part of this, you have the mental health coaches, you have the mental health professionals there to deal with these things, because everyone who has gone through this pandemic in this country is adjusting to some different kind of life, and they are things that need to be talked about. And what a better place to do it than with your brothers, your sisters, everybody who are trying to work towards a common goal, doing it together.
Ryan, we appreciate your time today. We'll look forward to talking with you soon, and we'll see what happens.
You bet. Good luck, guys.
Thanks, Ryan.
Ask Us is next. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of OSSIE Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of OSSIE Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Hey, T-Bob.
Coming up on Wednesday's Off the Bench, what happened on College Football Decision Day 2020 and how does it affect your LSU Tigers? Plus, did the Pelicans beat the Kings? You don't care. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Ask us. We're going to get a lot of this, so I just didn't go ahead and address it right now. What's the outlook for 104.5 if LSU doesn't play? We have had multiple meetings. We have had multiple Zoom calls. We have made contingency plans if LSU doesn't play football. It is. I'm not going to bury the lead here or ignore the fact that LSU football is a huge, massive part of what we do here at Guarantee Media. I can also tell you that in the last 10 minutes, we've gotten a letter, an email from our owner, our president, Flynn Foster, outlining some of the things that we're working through. And Gordy Rush just stuck his head in the door to say, hey, this is what's going on, and we're good. We will work through it. Guarantee Media, the Guarantee Corporation has been around for 100 years. We adjust. Okay, and I have not been here for all 100 of those years, but I've been here for a long time. Right. So it's a big part of what we do. And we'll miss it if it doesn't happen. But we will adjust. We will move forward. We will do the best that we can.
Yeah, and that's all you can do. There's obviously going to be ramifications, and individually as well. I mean, there's a lot of things that we all do. Some here at Guarantee Media, some on the side that aren't going to be there, and we're all going to take financial hits. But that's everyone, not only in our profession, but everyone.
Somebody asked about basketball, and this was. My response to it was that basketball is probably at a bigger risk. There's reasons I have this thought. Number one, it's inside. Number two, it's body-to-body contact with no protective gear, and it also isn't the massive financial hit that football is. In other words, university presidents can forego the basketball revenue a lot easier than they can the football revenue. LSU football made $56 million in profit the last reporting year that we know about. Basketball made about $2 million. So it's not now for the NCAA, the tournament, it is. But the part about it not being as big a risk as football, I got a text says or a post says, how can you say there's more contact in basketball than football? What are you drinking? That's not my opinion so much as it's the NCAA's lead medical professionals that are saying that. It's body-to-body contact, it's sweat, it's spit, it's all of these droplets that you're talking about with no helmets, with no shoulder pads, no other protective gear, and they consider it, along with wrestling, the most at-risk sport to spread the virus. So I'm just repeating what I was said, but you can understand. Okay, you got a tank top on, you got a pair of shorts, and it's a contact sport.
In football, you have gloves, you can have a face shield. We've seen the face shields on the eyes and the mouth, and of course you have all the equipment and the protection on.
It's a long time between now and basketball season. One thing at a time. Let's see. Ask us, how shady is the Big Ten commissioner preaching health and safety yet allowing his son to report to Mississippi State for workouts? If there's a day where Kevin Warren is in the stands watching a Mississippi State football game while the Big Ten's on the shelf, I suspect he will hear about it.
More than once.
Yeah. Ask us, ever had a shrimp pizza? Yes.
Yeah, shrimp scampi pizza at California Pizza Kitchen is actually really good.
Ask us, who wins in stroke play, 18 holes, me versus you? Him. No, I am not good. Not good at golf. Ask us, does LSU sign Tristan Lee? I mean, they were in good shape before all this happened. I mean, I don't know. I don't know of any developments in his.
I don't either,
at this point.
but hey, the recruiting job that they've done, I don't think it should go unnoticed because they have not been able to show the ooh and ah of all the trophies that they've added to the trophy case, and they have still crushed it on the recruiting trail.
Ask us, what's your specialty in the kitchen if you had to choose?
Chili.
Chili.
Yeah,
Okay.
chili.
You're better than me. I make a really good egg sandwich. Breakfast most days. Ask us, will Island Hanny be back? I need something, man.
Ooh, we all need a little Island Hanny. Hey, if I bring some sand and I put it in a box and I put your toes in the sand there, maybe?
Yeah,
perhaps.
Look,
we can have a cold pop too. We just can't say it's a cold pop. You can put in something else.
Let's see. Ask us. President Trump was on Clay Travis' show this morning. How many times have y'all declined his request to come on your show? President Trump has not asked to be on the show.
For some reason, my mind went to Clay Travis. I was like, well, I've had Clay on my Shreveport show.
Yeah,
before.
actually, I know Clay Travis. He's at most of. Well, I saw him. We talked for a little bit at the. I'm trying to remember if it's the SEC Championship or the Peach Bowl, but one of the two. I talked to him in the press box for a while. Let's see where we are. Financial ramifications for LSU. We've been through that. It's massive if they don't play it. Ask us, if football is not played, are there any college sports played without a vaccine?
It's actually a really good question from Richie, and I don't know, Hanny. I would lean towards no. Or something significant would have to happen and change.
You get a lot of different opinions on how long it's going to take to get a vaccine, a working vaccine. You know, the really optimistic people will tell you at the beginning of 2021 or even the end of 2020. The other side of that is 3 years minimum. And I'm not an expert, so I'm not going to tell you. Right now, it doesn't look good. Oh, God, well, I need some time to think about this. What is our favorite huntism of all time?
Oh, we'll have that for you tomorrow.
Yeah, give us some time to think on that.
Many.
Thanks to everybody for participating. For Jacob Hester, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for AFR 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a test result. This is a prescription refill. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating health.